Upstate.
Tolo's NFL football is coming our way. We got some action tonight in the NFL. I know Cole's going to be watching. Yeah.
100%.
Big game tonight. By the way, that's Bills-Texans. Probably going to be a rout. Who knows, though? The Bills have been kind of up and down. Maybe they've kind of righted the ship at this point, having won 3 out of their last 4, and a weird loss to the Dolphins. Like, how do you even lose to the Dolphins?
You know what the spread on that game is, though?
The spread on this game, you probably know off the top of your head. 5.5.
That's what I'm saying.
What?
You just said it should be a rout, but explain that spread. Earlier, just an hour ago, it was 6 points.
Are the Texans just monsters at home this year?
That's why I brought it up, because you said it was going to be a rout. I also, by the way, believe that
not really.
No, I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's one of those. We need an explanation on this. It was that upset pick that was coming in yesterday.
Yeah,
like crazy. The Nebraska plus 9.5 over Penn State. What does Vegas know about this game that we don't know yet? But welcome into the show. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Cole Bryson. My name is Diesel. And you Tolos who are watching on the stream, welcome in. Chat it up with one another.
Let's go.
I need you Tolos getting the conversation going over there. But an okay, I guess, okay weekend in the NFL. And, man, we got Carolina Panthers on Monday night. How about that?
Wait a minute. Prime time?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, don't screw this up.
Do they know that? You're telling me it's the reason I bring this up is because I asked a buddy of mine the other day, Diesel. I said, when's the last time the Carolina Panthers have played a game that's not at 1 o'clock on a Sunday? I mean, you did that pregame show.
Yeah.
Wasn't every game ever at 1 o'clock on a Sunday?
Every single one of them. Yeah. Some of them were early. I remember doing one at 9 a.m. You know what's fun is showing up to a bar at 9 a.m.
Yeah, packed, right?
For that Germany game. Good Lord. But the Panthers going to be facing the 49ers on Monday Night Football. The 49ers favored only by 7 points in that game, a touchdown favorite. Home team gets 3. They're really calling it a field goal plus kind of game.
Well,
that's wild to think. But then again, the Panthers, they've shocked the world this year. They beat the Packers on the road. Maybe they can do it again.
Expert Madcraft said, you guys realize Houston's defense is ranked top 5 in almost every category, right? Madcraft, that might be fine and dandy, but you do realize the Buffalo Bills are 7-3, right?
And if you can't score, what good does that do you?
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. But I'm telling you right now, I think the lock of the year, lock of the year is Buffalo in 5.5 tonight. I mean, to match.
Would you bet it up? I know you can bet it up on certain apps. Can on your Prize Picks app? Can you bet this game up a little bit? Can you pay a little bit more to bet this thing up?
I can bet player projections more or less, but that's it on Prize Picks. But I'm just saying, if there were a way to bet outcomes, which there's not, it's illegal in South Carolina.
Wink,
right?
Wink.
If there were a way, Diesel, I would tell you 5.5, Buffalo laying 5.5 is the lock of the year. I'm just, maybe I'm wrong, but Buffalo, they are a little bit inconsistent. 2 weeks ago, they were meh. Last week, they looked really good. I'm going to take my chances. I'm proclaiming the lock of the year tonight is Buffalo laying 5.5.
Josh Allen, a little bit interception happy this year. He's taken 20 sacks already on the season, 7 interceptions. I mean, he's playing okay. He's playing okay. You'd have to go back a couple years into Josh Allen's history to see if he's a kind of guy that throws a lot of picks or takes care of the ball. I just don't watch Josh Allen specifically for his interception numbers. But he's having a pretty good year. He's got a rating of 105. Solid season for Josh Allen there in Buffalo. It's funny, Cole, as we're this far into the season, some of these teams are in solid playoff contention or basically locks at this point. And you got local media trying to pick it apart for some weird reason. Media in Philadelphia and Eric Hines, where are you at? Call into the show. The media in Philadelphia trying to poke holes in Jalen Hurts' relationship with the locker room, saying that his teammates are frustrated that Jalen Hurts won't throw it into tight coverage in zone looks. Really interesting why they would do that, considering this team is 8-2.
Yeah.
And they're going to the playoffs. And oh, by the way, they have, I think, the number one red zone offense in the NFL. You put it in the red zone, they're gonna score. It is what it is. But they're trying to poke some kind of hole in the continuity in this locker room. The Eagles 25th in total yards, 28th in passing, 29th in third down conversion rate, averaging 115 rushing yards per game, but they have a 75% conversion rate in the red zone, and they don't give the ball away. They're not playing like blow you away kind of football. They're just winning
Eagles,
football.
right?
Yeah, the Eagles.
Yeah.
They're just winning games.
Well, I'll say this about the Philadelphia Eagles, Diesel. I believe there is a lot of truth out there to a lot of the things these people are talking about. It's all over the national news. You just said it. There people are trying to poke holes in this Philadelphia team. They are still 8-2. And in the NFL, man, like, you'll take a win however you can get it. A.J. Brown, obviously his unhappiness and that continued drama, of course, that's going to be a storyline. But look, it's the NFL. You win. That's the goal. Every single week is to win. And they've done it 8 times, and they've only not done it twice. So, yeah, you can poke all the holes you want. We'll see with Lane Johnson being out. That's the bigger story in my mind is future Hall of Famer Lane Johnson being injured, Diesel, not having him in a big game Sunday against my Cowboys. That's the story for me when you talk about Philadelphia. But real quick, before we move off of tonight, Josh Allen against the Texans, little bit of history tonight, Tolos, a little bit of history in the making. Buffalo quarterback Josh Allen passed for 317 yards with 3 touchdowns and added 3 rushing touchdowns last week, right? The only player in NFL history with at least 300 passing yards, 3 touchdown passes, and 3 rushing touchdowns in a single game. That's never happened before. Since entering the NFL in 2018, Diesel, Allen has 33,000 combined passing and rushing yards and 213 touchdown passes. Here's what happens tonight. With a touchdown pass on Thursday Night Football tonight, Josh Allen will surpass Hall of Famer Brett Favre for the 5th most touchdown passes by a player in his first 8 seasons in NFL history, trailing only Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, and Russell Wilson. That's pretty impressive. So you talk about the inconsistencies. You said it, maybe a little interception happy at times is Josh Allen. But, man, when this guy, Diesel, is at his best, it's historic, literally.
He's incredible. Another game, Cole, that is going to be, I think, more intriguing to see if the narrative will finally die. Colts Chiefs, 8-2. Daniel Jones leading the Colts. Could they plunge the sword into the belly of the Chiefs beast? This is going to be a fun game to watch just for that very reason. Patrick Mahomes still really good this season. He's completing 65% of his passes, second best in the league. He's rushing for a ton of yards. It's just not really translating into the level of dominance that they've had in years past. It's going to be a fun one to see if the Colts can knock off the Chiefs at home.
Well, if they're going to do it, this is the year. You said it a minute ago. It's an interesting matchup. The Colts have some of the best offensive efficiency, Diesel, and balance in the NFL. 412 yards per game, one of the most prolific offenses in the NFL currently. They're highly efficient. Indy leads in offensive EPA right now. The run game's elite. Jonathan Taylor, we all know how good he is. He's their bell cow back, right? Like, he is the guy. When he's going, he stretches defense. And you look at what they're doing offensively, Diesel, the Colts, their third down conversion rate makes them very good at sustaining drives. They have one of the better ones in the league. And you said Kansas City, they're 5-5. This is a compelling game for this reason. It is truly, and I know this term gets tossed around way too often, this is truly, Diesel, a must-win game. If you want to stay in the playoff picture, it's an in-conference game. You're 5-5. If you want to stay in that postseason picture, you've got to win. Right now, this Kansas City team, Diesel, they just don't have a clear identity. They really don't. And with playoff positioning on the line, they're kind of in a similar boat as my Cowboys, where the playoffs are happening right now. Like, this is literally the postseason. So if you tell me that, I'm not going to count them out. I'm not going to count Patrick Mahomes out, right? Indianapolis is really, really good. But if this is the postseason, guess who's been there many, many times? That'd be Patrick Mahomes.
It's going to be fun to watch this Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville-led team take on the Cardinals, who are probably going to be without QB1, RB1, and RB2. How in the heck did the Arizona Cardinals even move the football against Jacksonville? But here's the thing, inconsistencies, you bring it up. Jacksonville, one of the most inconsistent teams over the past 5 or 6 weeks. They have not won 2 in a row since September leading into October. They've just been trading wins and losses, wins and losses, wins and losses. For the Jacksonville fans in our audience, they got to be frustrated by not being able to put together back-to-back weeks. They've looked good at times. They beat really good teams, and then they've also looked really bad at times. And this would be one of those devastating losses if they lose to a Cardinals team that's running a backup quarterback and a backup running back out there. It's going to be hard to see if they can get the win. So I think Jacksonville probably should win this game going away, and maybe they start to take a really good lead there in that division.
But you know what, man? Unfortunately, that's been a mark of Trevor Lawrence teams.
It's true.
In the NFL. And I'm not saying it's all on him, Diesel, but that word you used, inconsistent, the inconsistency, the Jaguars, while Trevor Lawrence has been leading them, they've just been inconsistent. They did have a great win last week, and that's a great win over a solid Chargers team. Now, this is a 2.5 point spread right now, which is interesting, right? It does make you wonder, what are we missing here? Jacksonville's defense is really strong against the run. I think that's a favorable matchup. They rank near the top in the NFL, Diesel, in limiting rushing yards. I believe they held the Chargers to like 42 rushing yards, an insane statistic from that game last week. And not having Marvin Harrison Jr., if you're the Cardinals, that's a huge loss, right? You mentioned, I don't even know who the quarterbacks.
Jacoby Brissett.
Starting.
Kyler's out on injured reserve, obviously. Let's see. Bam Knight is questionable. He's the second running back. Amari DeMercado is out. He's typically running back 1.
Yeah.
And their RB4, Trey Benson, is also out on injured reserve.
Well,
so it's the walking wounded on that running back room.
If you had Marvin Harrison, you would feel like, okay, maybe that's enough for Jacoby Brissett to make chicken salad out of you-know-what, right? But not having him out there, it's going to be tough.
True.
Jacksonville has the advantage, and I think, it is a big game because Trevor Lawrence, we said it, the consistency. They've got to start building some consistency during the regular season. They're better in drive efficiency. They have a better run game. They have a better defense. We talked about Arizona being beat up. I think this could be still a little bit higher scoring game than people might think, but you would imagine this is a safe spot to take Jacksonville and lay in the 2.5, 3 points.
And the nightcap on Sunday night, again, Carolina taking on the 49ers on Monday, but the nightcap on Sunday night, on paper, this feels like it should be a good game, but there is apparently a bug that is sweeping around the Tampa Bay locker room. Baker's got it. A couple other players have it. A couple of coaches have it. So Baker being questionable in this game, maybe Teddy Bridgewater has to go on the road against Matt Stafford. That's tough. And the Buccaneers, who started off white hot, they've lost a couple of them in a row, and this is another tough game. They could be staring down the barrel of 3 straight losses.
You don't see often several illnesses impacting the injury report. You just don't. The Bucs had a walkthrough practice yesterday on Wednesday, like they've typically had in recent weeks, but this one was different. Reports say, you talked about that illness. Diesel, reports are head coach Todd Bowles believed that it may have gone up to about 20 people. He said, unfortunately, this Wednesday, a lot of people have taken ill. There's a bug going around the building. We had about 5 coaches and about 15 players down, so that helped aid in the walkthrough. There's nothing we can really do about that today, said Todd Bowles. So if going against the Rams wasn't already difficult enough, you have to deal with this illness bug. And then you talk about some other injuries that this team's already dealing with right now. Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin hadn't looked great, right?
Yeah.
Their
even
status,
if Baker goes, he's been a little
right.
banged up over the course of the season. We don't know how much any of those injuries are nagging him.
Igbuka, illness. Graham Barton, illness. Hassan Reddick still dealing with an ankle injury. Chris Braswell Jr. still not even participating in practice this week. Diesel still, with that nagging foot injury. I just like Matthew Stafford in this spot, man. He's playing at a high level, and he's got a 27-2 touchdown to interception. Am I reading that right? 27-2 touchdown to interception ratio.
How old is Matt Stafford?
He's 63, I believe.
I'm trying to look. He is 37 years old, and he's playing like a 24-year-old.
No, that's what I'm
he's
saying,
playing
man.
Amazing football for his age.
I'm saying. You feel confident in the way that guy's throwing the rock right now, and this season, man. That's right. Listen to this. Right now, this year, he's throwing at a 6. How old did you say he was?
37.
At 37 years old, he's throwing for a 66 completion percentage.
Yeah,
2,000
league.
20, best in the league. 2,500 yards, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 112.7. That's nuts. So, when you look at this one, and again, I know we've talked about the Bills game tonight, the Jags, going against the Cardinals, and then with this game, you feel like there are several locks this weekend. Unfortunately, we all know that won't be the case. It's the NFL, right? Things happen. But what a resurgent year Matthew Stafford's having, man. And he's got some talent. Devontae Adams, how big is that, right? You talk about the efficiency, the turnover battle. They're winning right now at a +10 turnover ratio. The Bucs are at a +9. The Bucs have forced 8 turnovers in their last 3 games, which is big, but they've given up explosive plays on defense, the Bucs have. So I think this just favors the Rams. And not to mention their defense, Diesel, is elite. They're second in the NFL in points allowed per game at 17.2. Pass rush is legit, right? They have pressure up front that can really get to Baker Mayfield or whoever's playing quarterback for if Baker can't go, right? Secondary linebackers, one of the best. You look at Bucs wide receiver Sterling Shepard versus Quentin Lake. That's a huge matchup, a game within the game. I think this is another one, and of course, I'm not going to get all 3 of these right. It feels like this is a really good spot to take the Rams here. I need to write these down, by the way.
This might be one of those games you watch until about halftime, and then you say, you know what? I think I might want to check out that Ken Burns documentary, American Revolution. I just started it last night. It's really good.
Bill Bender got you on it?
He did. It was in the back of my mind. I kept hearing about it. Everybody, all my friends were posting about it on social media, and I hadn't watched it yet. Turns out you can stream it for free on PBS.
Really?
Yeah. PBS has their own app. You gotta create an account. But it's free. And, you can watch the show.
How about that?
It's really good.
I might start it, but I still got to get caught up on Murdaugh. I'm
watching both.
Nothing can get me away from Murdaugh right now. Are you kidding me?
Is it all out right now? All of Murdaugh?
No, they do one every Wednesday, and I'm
trying to catch up.
I think yesterday was 7. Was yesterday Wednesday? Am I losing my mind?
I've got to be close then. We must have finished episode 6.
Yeah. I think episode 7 came out yesterday. It's really good. I hate to, go down that rabbit hole again, but it really is. I don't know how we got there. But anyways, good stuff. And the Carolina Panthers, a little Monday night football. My goodness, that's odd. Let's see if they can
crap the bed.
Just
look okay.
That's what I was going to say. Let's see if they can go at least be competitive, right? Keep it close. Keep it entertaining. Maybe the Panthers, is an adjustment not playing at 1:00 every single week like they have. Maybe they look really good. Maybe they look really bad under the lights. Do they even have lights at Bank of America Stadium? Do we know? It seems like every game's been at 1:00, Diesel. But it's time for the state segment. In the very next segment, Jordan Kaye of the State newspaper joins us next right here on the Fan Upstate.
844-563. That's 844-FAN-PHONE. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
It is the States segment every Thursday at this time, and we rotate with two of the very best. Chapel Fowler of the State newspaper, as well as Jordan Kaye. And Jordan joins the show today. Jordan, we're starting with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball right down the pipe. The most asked question that I've been asked this week, I'm asking you, again, starting off with a banger. If the Gamecocks, if the Gamecocks were to lose to Coastal Carolina on Saturday, would that warrant firing Shane Beamer?
It would certainly warrant some conversations about it, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, that's a big if. It's probably too hard to speculate on, what happens there. But certainly if something that drastic happens just a week after the Gamecocks blow a 27-point lead to Texas A&M, there are probably going to be some conversations, no doubt.
So, Jordan, do you think, have you pondered the idea that maybe Tim Beck at Coastal Carolina is playing a little chess with Shane Beamer, especially on the Samari Collier injury front? Because that team, even though Samari Collier doesn't put up like eye-popping numbers, the team is just different with him under center. Do you think maybe there's a little bit of subterfuge going on?
Maybe. I don't know how much, Coastal is trying to really play that type of gamesmanship with South Carolina. I really wasn't reading too much into that beyond just the injury report. But, perhaps Tim Beck is really playing, 3D chess here.
Talking to Jordan Kaye of the State newspaper. Jordan, when you go back, you just mentioned it, man. How do you recoup? How do you forget what happened on Saturday and play another football game? Because what happened on Saturday was really devastating for South Carolina and the Gamecocks. How do you kind of flush it? The term that coaches use all the time. Do you feel like this group, who a lot of people are claiming, by the way, have checked out, do you feel like this group is capable of flushing what happened on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I would push back on any notion that they've checked out. I think fans more so have checked out than the actual players. I'll give a lot of credit to South Carolina. Forget about the final score. I mean, they had no real business of even hanging in that first half. And for them to kind of come out with a sleepy 11 a.m. local time start against the number 3 team in the country and kind of come out throwing punches like that, that was really impressive. And I think that was kind of a sign, a testament. This team hasn't quit yet, because I kind of was wondering, after that Alabama game, was that it? And they played okay against Ole Miss, not great. And then after the bye, you're wondering again, man, are they going to get beat by 40? And they didn't. I mean, they hung in there. So I think that's the only thing is these guys have proven that they're going to just keep playing. Now, is that going to be enough to actually, win these next 2 games? I don't know about that, but for anyone kind of saying they quit, I think that's a hard argument. I don't think they've shown any signs of that, which, give some credit to the coaching staff for that.
Jordan, if you look across the stat sheet for Coastal, they've got a sack machine at defensive end, a guy that's got, fairly close to SEC style size, Zeke Campbell. He's got 5.5 sacks on the season already, but he's kind of the only one. They picked up a few here and there. I know South Carolina is going to try to double team the guy, but outside of that, do you think they'll have the ability to shut this guy down for this game, or maybe shut down some looks from other positions, like blitzes off the corner?
Yeah, no offense to Zeke Campbell, but they just played Texas A&M. They just had those dudes coming at them for 4 quarters. I don't know that Coastal has 5.5 sacks. It's good. I mean, he's putting together a good Sun Belt season, but this is I don't think that South Carolina's offensive line is going to be looking at Coastal a week after somewhat playing well against Texas A&M's O-line, at least in the first half, and be too worried about anything. They kind of got the brunt of their season handed to them last week. So this, if anything, should kind of be a little bit of a, hey, can't take it easy, but it should be a little bit of an easier test this week.
Talking to Jordan Kaye of the State Newspaper. Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter, on X at JordanK_23. Jordan, I want to go back to something you said just a few minutes ago. You said I would push back that South Carolina has checked out. I think the fans have checked out more so than the players have. How difficult do you believe it'll be to get those fans back? Would a win over Clemson automatically have them back, or do you think more has to happen?
I think more has to happen. Beating Clemson is going to do a lot for you. I mean, it's going to at least give some good mojo going into the offseason. It's going to be like one little thing to kind of hang your hat on as a South Carolina fan, and even the coaching staff, of saying, see, look, we were close. We're going in the right direction. Like, we're not too far away. And then the thing that's really going to push it over the top is, who does Shane Beamer hire at offensive coordinator? Like, if Beamer goes out and gets a stud, from college, whether that's like Jason Beck from Utah, or really goes and poaches someone, I think that could be the thing. And then, Lenore Stellers or Dylan Stewart returns. Like, you couple all those things together, all of a sudden you can start getting the fan base a little more excited for 2026. Clemson, I think, is beating Clemson is a heck of a start to that. Then it goes to, hey, who does South Carolina sign it out, hire as OC? And then, okay, are they keeping Lenore Stellers and Dylan Stewart? And you get all those kind of things lined up, and people are going to talk themselves into, a turnaround in 2026.
So, Jordan, would you say that South Carolina is prepared to really open up the wallet for an OC? Mike Shula was making around $1 million. I know around the SEC, some of these guys are topping 1.5 or close to $2 million. Do you think they're willing to go there to ensure that they get the best of the best?
I have a hard time believing money is going to be an issue for South Carolina in this OC search. I mean, Clayton White's making $2 million a year. Like, South Carolina is not a school trying to skimp on coordinators right now. And I think Shane Beamer understands, like, this offensive coordinator is the difference of it could be the difference of this team taking the next step next season or him being fired. Like, they can't really spare an expense. Now, you also kind of want to get someone who's, wants to be at South Carolina and wants to be around whoever, the quarterback is. You don't want to have to, overpay $3 million to go get someone who you're really, pulling their neck to try and get him to South Carolina. Like, that's certainly not the best option. But, if I have a hard time believing a couple $100,000 is going to come in the way of whoever Shane Beamer's top choice is.
Jordan, what do you make of what Shane Beamer said earlier this week in his press conference? He said a lot. There was some funny, there were some jokes in there that we all enjoyed. But I think the most interesting was the comment he made about this time next year. This team will be sitting here waiting to see where they are shaking up in the college football playoff. A little bit of pushback from that from fans outside and inside. What were your thoughts on that?
I just didn't understand, like, why he does this to himself. Like, what was the point of saying that? Like, is there any South Carolina, like, maybe a handful of South Carolina fans being like, yeah, like, let's go. Thank you. Attaboy, coach. Like, maybe a few, but it's just, I don't understand the point of just, like, putting this large target on your back of saying something like that when you're 3-7. Like, I'm all for confidence. If you want to speak that thing into existence, like, I think there's probably a better way of going about it. Now, that said, like, in a way, he kind of might be in that position. Like, I think next year is somewhat the make or break year for Shane Beamer. So maybe he's thinking of, like, hey, either I, we are in contention for the playoff, or my seat might be really hot. So in a way, he might be real, but I don't take any of that seriously. Like, Brian Kelly said, look up in a year and we're going to be in the national championship or something along those lines. Like, coaches just say this stuff to try and, really get the fan base back on their side. But certainly I didn't, I kind of had a chuckle in my head of just not even at the statement of, like, that actually could happen. Look at Oklahoma last year. But just like, what was the point of saying that?
Would you say, Jordan, that there's any chance that Shane knows something we don't know, that, in terms of Lenore Sellers coming back for another season, maybe he's already got a candidate, that they can't discuss, that has already, taken the job, even though it's not been announced yet? Or is it just coach speak to get people, get the natives to be less restless?
It's coach speak to try and, get people excited.
Okay.
I don't care what what you think, a lot of people, myself included, thought we knew that South Carolina was going to be, fighting for a college football playoff berth this year. So, you can say all this stuff, but yeah, it's really just trying to get people excited.
Jordan, I heard Dabo Swinney say something on Tuesday that I found interesting. A question was asked to Dabo about, now that the season's coming to an end, are you starting to ramp up conversations with guys about retention, right? And Dabo's answer was pretty self-explanatory. And look, hey, man, in this new era of college football, that's an everyday conversation. Do you feel like it's a similar situation between Shane Beamer and Lenoris in terms of this year and the results of this year having an impact on Lenoris's decision either to go pro or maybe transfer or stay when it comes to what his status will be in 2026?
Yeah, first of all, you guys should do a contest every week. Who has a better quote that week in the presser, Dabo or Shane? It's like week after week, they're like going back and forth for the best quote. But yeah, those conversations happen all the time. Like, I don't think this is something that they're going to like wait till the very last, right when the season ends and be like, all right, what are you doing? Now I think it's like preliminary discussions, like, if that makes sense. Like, they're kind of gauging, hey, all these things, what, not necessarily, hey, make your decision now, but they're talking through it. Like, hey, this is what things could look like, blah, 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 whatever. But like, Lenore Sellers still has to make a decision. And I thought The Athletic kind of came out with a really good piece today explaining, like, hey, this Lenore Sellers struggles fall a lot on the offensive line, of him being pressured like 40% of his dropbacks, and just the system he's in where they're running these vertical routes and the protection can't hold up. And the article kind of put it like, like this is a first round talent, and there might be a team out there that kind of swings for it. And so I think if Lenore Sellers kind of goes through the preliminary draft process and he's a first rounder, he's going to probably go to the NFL, and that's not really going to be a Shane Beamer decision. But I think Shane Beamer wants to make sure, like, him and Lenoris are at least on the same page as of right now, and they're having those early conversations about what the offense could look like next year with Lenoris. And so, yeah, I think all those things are happening right now, but they will certainly ramp up once the season ends.
Jordan, high school recruits, they make their minds up over a myriad of different decisions. And we've talked to a bunch of people, and they say, well, they don't really care so much about wins and losses. Like, losing a particular game is not going to cause a high school recruit to change his mind and to decommit. But good, bad, indifferent, how has recruiting changed? Has it taken any hits since this skid over the past couple of weeks?
It hasn't. And, perhaps surprisingly to some people, but I think whatever South Carolina's message was is not like a thing just purely based on wins and losses. You talk to a lot of these high level recruits, and for some of them, certainly at the top, like, South Carolina was not their highest monetary offer, but South Carolina, and this is something, like, I know Dabo talks about it, and a lot of great Kirby Smart talked about it last week, of like, you probably shouldn't be the highest bidder on all these kids, because that means they're probably going for the money. And South Carolina's done a really good job of preaching the family atmosphere. And it sounds cliche, but it stops kind of being a cliche when literally, like, every recruit talks about it. And so they've done a really good job there. They haven't lost any commits, like, over the last month and a half. And if they're able to flip someone like a Julian Walker from Dutch Fork, that would kind of be a very nice way to finish out this class, so long as there's not a surprise decommitment before signing day.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, he's a big one. And Jordan, I'll see him Friday night, Dutch Fork right there. You would think.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, you would think, look, he's in Shane Beamer's backyard, right? You got to.
Well, his dad is on
staff.
South Carolina staff as a strength coach. So
right.
There are a lot of things there, but, I also understand a kid wanting to get away from home too.
Sure. Jordan, you are the best, man. Appreciate your time as always. We'll talk to you very soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks,
Absolutely. Jordan Kaye of the State newspaper. By the way, Diesel, kid he's talking about, number 8, he's committed to Michigan, and he's a ball player. Julian Walker, he is listed at 6'5.5", 252, plays edge for Dutch Fork. Senior. He's been offered by, the likes of Michigan and South Carolina and NC State, North Carolina, App State, with him being a local kid, right? Out of Irmo.
I think he's going to flip to App State.
Oh, there you go.
He's going to play alongside that kid we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. That would be the wrench that nobody expects, right?
Hey, I'm sure a guy with skills like that could put up gigantic numbers.
And matter of fact, I think he should take tomorrow night off to think about his commitment. That's
smart.
What I think he should do.
That's a smart play.
There you go.
Load manage. In the playoffs. If Dutch Fork is that good, they won't need him.
That's true.
When we come back, Cole, let's do our whip around the sports world. We have a ton of daily wires to get to next.
Day.
Big day in sports around the country and around the world, Cole. So let's get to it all right here in our Daily Wires. The Buzz tonight, Thursday night football on Amazon. Buffalo Bills traveling to the Houston Texans. Buffalo 6-point favorites in this ball game. Do you have any lean on the wagering side?
Well, sometimes you just got to bite the bullet. I like it. I like laying the points here. I like Buffalo. Again, I said it in the first segment. Maybe I'm wrong, but Buffalo's the better team.
Yeah. On Monday, ESPN's Desmond Howard posted a video on social media saying he wouldn't be surprised if the Texas job opens up at the end of the season, suggesting a mutual parting of the ways.
Basketball?
Well, no, football.
Baseball?
Football. Since then, both Texas AD Chris Del Conte and Steve Sarkisian have come out to push back against that. Chris Del Conte said, well, this is news to me. And Steve Sarkisian said that he has no desires to leave the program, saying, I'm not going anywhere, calling the reports absolutely false and untrue.
I wonder why Desmond would run with something like that. Like, you would think somebody with that pedigree of Desmond Howard's would have to get a really good scoop in order to ride it. That's surprising.
Who texted Desmond and told him that?
Yeah, somebody
or is
had
it just an opinion? Did somebody text him some bad information?
I can't imagine that he just all of a sudden pulls that out of the ether of all.
Yeah.
Sark's going to be fired.
If you say the Bowling Green coach might leave at the end of the season, nobody cares. But this is Steve Sark in Texas.
That's interesting, man.
The College Sports Commission, the new enforcement agency of college sports, has asked all schools under its purview to sign an agreement and waive their right to challenge future punishments in court as part of an agreement that would give the agency significant power to investigate and punish rule breakers when it comes to NIL deals and direct athlete payments. So, they're trying to establish a real enforcement arm. Schools that sign the agreement will waive their right to challenge any of CSC's rulings in a courtroom. Any appeals of a CSC punishment would instead go through an arbitration process that is agreed upon as part of the House settlement.
Wow.
Top 10 high school senior Babatunde Oladatun committed to Maryland, giving Coach Buzz Williams his first 5-star recruit in nearly a decade. He chose Maryland over Georgetown and Arkansas. So Maryland getting a good one.
What was that last name again?
Oleander.
I like it.
Babatunde. I just call him Baba. People are just going to call him Baba.
Baba.
Oladatun. I don't know. These names are hard, man. It's a hard name.
I love it.
Last night in top 5 college basketball action, number 4 Arizona beat number 3 UConn 71-67 in Stewart's on their own court, and also number 11 Alabama beat number 8 Illinois 90-86 in Champaign. So the road team's getting the better of these matchups early in the season.
No doubt.
Tonight, number 15, Texas Tech will face a 3-1 Wake Forest team in Nassau. Texas Tech favored by 9.5. And that's the closest spread in games that feature big-time, high-ranked opponents tonight. A rare pair of Michael Jordan game-worn Air Jordan 1s from 1985 sold for more than $200,000 at auction. The Air Jordan 1s that Michael wore October 26, 1985 in a Bulls-Pistons game that ignited one of the NBA's fiercest rivalries sold for $205,188.14.
$205,000.
Would you wear them?
No.
No,
I'm stepping something.
You wouldn't not even around the house.
No, I'd be $205,000. They better be in a gun safe or
They're
something.
Also 40-year-old sneakers. They might just fall apart.
That's true.
It's crazy. Joe Burrow is one step closer to returning to the field. He was a full participant in yesterday's practice. It's the first time he's been a full participant since he suffered a turf toe injury back in the middle of September against Jacksonville. Head coach Zach Taylor dismissed the idea that Burrow could start Sunday against New England, though.
Guy's got the worst injury luck.
That doesn't even sound like a real injury, turf toe.
And you know what's crazy about it? I've had coaches tell me and players too that you're right. It doesn't sound like anything, but they say it is the most painful thing you could ever. CJ Spiller told me that one time. He had it.
I don't even know what turf toe is, to be honest.
Yeah, C.J. Spiller had it maybe more than once at Clemson and told me one time that it is horrendous of how painful it is.
Aaron Rodgers said his ability to play on Sunday is a safety thing, dismissing the notion that it would come down to pain management. He said it was really just about his ability to protect himself, not about whether or not it hurts to catch a snap or take a hit. Jets corner Chris Boyd, who was shot in the abdomen outside a Manhattan restaurant Sunday, was upgraded to stable condition. That's phenomenal news to hear. He shared the news on Instagram yesterday saying, quote, "I'm coming along, starting to breathe on my own now. Sincerely appreciate everyone."
That's good news.
Last night, the Carolina Hurricanes rallied with 2 third-period goals to force overtime against the Minnesota Wild, but they ultimately fell in a shootout 4-3. Miami's Eric Spoelstra has been chosen as the new U.S. Olympic men's basketball coach, taking over for Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr praised Spoelstra, calling him well-prepared for the challenge. He'll lead the U.S. men's team at the 2027 World Cup and at the 2028 LA Olympics. And finally here, Cole, the Braves have addressed one of their offseason priorities by re-signing closer Raisel Iglesias to a 1-year, $16 million contract. He had just completed a 4-year contract with the Braves that was paying him $16 million. So he continues that salary for 1 more year with the Braves.
I like it, Diesel. I like it a lot. All right. Hour number 2, we've got to get upset picks rolling. A few have trickled in, but we've really got to get those things coming in hot and heavy. And we also look and ask a very important question, Diesel. Of the top 15, let's not call it 25, but of the top 15 teams in the country, we've got to decide. You, Tolos, Diesel, and I, of the top 15, who are the pretenders and who are the contenders? We make a fringe list where they would need absolute chaos in order to win it all. That's next on the Fan Upstate.
Fan Upstate.
Well, it's the list, Diesel, that the entire world has been dying to see, the fringe list. Who is a contender? Who is a pretender? We talked about the college football playoff rankings that came out on Tuesday. And, these rankings are just that. They're rankings. We have to expand the postseason, expand the playoff every year because it's not enough teams. You've heard me say it. I don't think anything changes when you expand the postseason. I still think you're going to be left with the same few teams. But let's put that to the test. Of the top 15, because I believe that's where that bubble right now kind of lies, right? 15, 16 in terms of two-loss teams versus a one-loss team like Georgia Tech, Diesel, at number 16. Who are pretenders? Who are contenders? Who can actually win a championship? To heck with these rankings. Tolos, we want to hear from you. 844-326-3663, Hub City Spartanburgers text line. And the phone lines are open as well. We've got to decipher. We've got to decide who is an actual contender to win the national championship. Diesel, do you have 15 contenders? Do you have 15?
No, I don't. I don't. And look, every time the college football playoff changes, it's going to change in a way that benefits the higher ranked teams, right? They took away the 5 highest ranked conference champions get a bye because you can't have a team like Boise State get a bye. You just can't. You can't allow something like that to happen. So there you go. There's an advantage taken away from potentially whoever that G5 team is if they're better than the ACC or whatever that may be. Now they're also making the higher ranked team or giving the higher ranked team the home game when they play in the second round of the playoffs, giving the advantage to the higher ranked team. I think if you introduced a little element of chaos, and that's what I loved about last year's playoff system. A lot of people hated it, and that's fine. You got to reward the team that did you better every year. Like, shut up. If you're the best team, go out there and win. Quit whining about it. I don't care. I don't care that you had to play and somebody else didn't have to play. I want to have that element of chaos. If you're the better team, go win on the road. Go win in a tough environment. I want to see that.
Yeah, I also want to see the college football playoff give us what we want. And let's make this home games on campuses for more than just that first round. I would not be one bit dissatisfied, disappointed, Diesel, if they came out tomorrow and said, well, bam, no more neutral sites. None. Done with it.
Right.
Okay, if you won the national championship on neutral site, that's fine.
Or at least play it in an NFL stadium nearby. Right?
Yes, I don't want any. It's like the time Clemson played and went to Glendale. I mean, they still had a huge contingent, but this
is all big boy college football, right? I mean, you're not going to see a situation like the college baseball College World Series where a team like Campbell gets in and they have a stadium that seats 12 people and man, how are we going to have South Carolina playing on the road at Campbell when they only I didn't realize they expanded. I forgot about that. How are we going to have that? No, that's not going to be the case. I mean, I know when you look at the current projections, Notre Dame going on the road to BYU, and BYU is not a gigantic stadium. No. But Notre Dame does travel really well. It shouldn't matter.
Go play.
Make it tougher and tougher to get into that stadium.
If
you're a Notre Dame fan, it's going to be tough to get in, and that's going to give you a tougher road environment. I love that kind of stuff. But all these teams are playing in 50,000 seat stadiums or more. It's not an issue. Play them all on campus until you get to the quarterfinals.
Let's do it. I love the college campus vibe in the postseason. Tolos, you are invited to play along on this game. If you would like to, you can text it in or get on and do it live with us on the phone lines at 844-326-3663. Also, get your upset picks in. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, 844-326-3663. I will reveal my upset pick at 4:45 today. We also have Chris Burgin, play-by-play voice of the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, going behind enemy lines, Diesel, in the very next segment. But let's just randomize this thing. I'm going to throw them at you left and right like a like you're just taking batting practice. You better have your bat off your shoulder, ready to go, because I want to know, the question is, are they a legitimate contender? Are they a pretender? Or the third category, are they somewhere in the middle, that they're a fringe team that would need absolute chaos to win it all? That's the question if you just tuned in. Which of these teams in the top 15 in your mind are actually capable of winning a national championship? And I'm going to throw a curveball at you. I start with 16, not 15. At number 16, Diesel, 9-1, the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech. Obviously, the ACC still has a little bit of, shaking out to do, a little bit of playing out to see who actually makes the CFP of the ACC teams. Georgia Tech, in your mind, simply put, are they a national championship contender?
No, they're not. I don't think Georgia Tech makes it out of the first round.
If they were to get in?
No, I don't think that would be the case at all. Look, I like what they've done. I like that they've had probably the best season in Georgia Tech football history.
But this is their ceiling.
Right? Yeah. I mean, come on, they're beating Boston College by 2 on the road. They got beat by NC State on the road. They gave up a ton of points to Virginia Tech. They gave a ton of points to Wake Forest. These are not exactly powerhouse offenses here, okay?
No.
They were in a tight game against Colorado. I give them a lot of credit for winning close games that they probably shouldn't have won. And in most seasons, they probably split most of those football games. But this is the ceiling. They'll be on the outside looking in. I don't think they're getting into the playoff at all unless they win the ACC championship game. And if they do, they're going to get blown out in the first round.
The randomizer continues. I throw at you, Tolos. I throw at you as well. Notre Dame. The Irish are let me see. Let me make sure I say this right. The 9th ranked Irish, in your mind, at 8-2 currently. Again, as of right now, they are in the top 12. God. Right now, they look like a college football playoff lock. We looked at the rest of their schedule yesterday. In your mind, are the Irish a contender, a pretender, or would they be on that fringe list where they would need chaos to ensue in order for them to win the national championship?
I think they're kind of towing that line between contender and pretender. They'd be at the bottom of my list of contenders or sort of at the top of my list of pretenders. That's not to say they couldn't win an opening round game. If you look at the playoff, the way that's projected right now, they'd be playing on the road at BYU. I would think they'd probably win that football game.
Be a decent game.
But their offense is really, really good. I know that they struggled in week 1 against Miami. They still scored 24 points on the road against a Carson Beck-led team back when Carson Beck was still playing well for Miami. They put up 40 on the road at College Station, at home against Texas A&M. I think they can score on just about anybody. I think this team is really good. My contenders list is small, and they're at the bottom of my contenders list.
Well, I think it should be. I think the contenders list is small. The Tolos might differ on who's on the contenders list. By the way, Tolos, send in your contenders list. Simply put, we would love to see it. In your mind, in your opinion, who are the actual contenders, Tolos, in your mind to win a national championship? Send it in to 844-326-3663. I'm with you on Notre Dame. They're 8-2 right now. They're going to finish 10-2. They have Stanford left on the schedule, right? They also have Syracuse this weekend. They will finish 10-2. They will be a lock, Diesel, to make the college football playoff. You don't have to worry about a trip up in a conference championship game, right? They're going to be there. Do they draw from experience from last year, being in the big game? Can they pull experience from last year's run? Maybe so, but at the end of the day, let me ask you this question. If you talk about Notre Dame going up against A&M, Georgia, Indiana, or Ohio State, are you giving them a chance in any 4 of those games?
No, they have to face A&M again. They're going to get smoked. And Notre Dame, they handled it well last year, but that's not to say that this year's team would handle the time off of not having a conference championship game the same way. We see it across all sports. That rust is dangerous.
Yeah. That's true. And I'm with you. I mean, I could see them. You talk about their ceiling in the playoff. Like, after you get out of that 4, I think Texas Tech would beat them. I think Ole Miss would beat them. I think Oregon would beat them. And I think Oklahoma would beat them. So I hate to say this, but the 8 teams that are above Notre Dame, I think all 8 would beat them. And in fact, Alabama, who's behind them at 10, I think Bama would beat them.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Diesel, I think they're the 10th best team in the country, right? Could they be, going back to my fringe point, chaos? I think maybe they'd have to have some chaos go their way. Let's see.
They need the perfect matchup.
They need a perfect matchup and a perfect game. Texas from the 512 says Contenders, Buckeyes, Georgia. The rest are pretenders.
Ooh.
Wow. Only 2 contenders on that list.
No love for Indiana, Texter. No love for, let's see, who else is around them? No love for Texas A&M. I think A&M had their one, bleep up half. It didn't cost them a game. And I think that refocuses this team down the stretch. I think A&M is for real.
I think they are as well. Dewey says Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, Alabama as his contenders. If you just tuned in, Tolos want to hear who your contenders are to actually win the national championship. I jump out west a little bit, Diesel. 9-1. They're ranked 7th in the country currently. The Ducks. Are the Ducks, Diesel, Tolos, are the Oregon Ducks contenders?
I don't know.
I think it's tough,
I
right?
don't know, because they're up and down offensively. When they're up, they're really up. When they're down, man, they're really down. They struggle sometimes to put 21 points on the board. And that's happened a couple times. Wisconsin and Iowa, they struggled. And granted, Iowa, that game was in really, really bad weather conditions. But they put up 20 points against Indiana. So, I mean, are you telling me that they just played their worst possible game against an Indiana team, or did they hold Indiana down defensively and they just couldn't score them?
Yeah, I don't believe Oregon's a lock, but I do believe they're a contender. Again, there's a difference between a lock, right, which we all believe we know what locks are until the actual game's played, right? But I don't think they're a lock. I do think they're a national championship contender in large part because of Dante Moore. That guy's a difference maker. He's been efficient. He's been talked about as a Heisman candidate at times this year, Diesel. And if he continues to develop and their offense can continue to be explosive, they have that big play potential, those big explosive plays, which when you talk about big games, like if they were to go up against Oklahoma or Ole Miss, that could be the equalizer, having that big play potential. I know there are areas where they might be a little bit vulnerable, right? He's untested, talking about Dante Moore, maybe some of the biggest games. You worry about who they've played compared to like Oklahoma or Alabama if they were to match up at the playoff. But I think right now I'd go contender with the Ducks. I think they are 100% a contender. And to refresh, you have them as?
I have them as a contender. No, I have them as a pretender.
Okay.
I have them as a pretender. I think they're, a good pretender, but they're not quite there.
Gotcha.
Probably make it to the Final Four kind of team. Maybe make it to the final, maybe make it to the championship game, but I don't know that they would win it.
Let me ask you this question.
Decisively.
You brought up Indiana a second ago, who's number 2 in the country, 11-0. I just want to put this out there in the ether. Is there somebody out there that doesn't believe Indiana's a contender? You mentioned you maybe don't think Diesel.
I think they're incredibly consistent on both sides of the football.
I just don't know how you can't have them as a contender right now.
I mean, even if their defense is not playing great, they're going to outscore you.
Again, Tolos, would love to hear from. If you don't believe Indiana's a contender, let me know. We've had 2 texters already who didn't include Indiana on their list. JT and Greer said contenders Georgia, Indiana, so he's got them, Bama, Ole Miss, A&M, and Ohio State. He's got 6 contenders. Tolo Sean and Michael T. and Gaffney getting their upset picks in. I just don't see a world in which Indiana is not a legitimate contender, Diesel. I think you could argue that they had a hiccup, maybe a little bit. I think you could argue, though, that they're the most solid, consistent team in the country.
They are averaging 6 touchdowns a game, Cole.
Yeah, it's pretty good,
6.
right?
They're really good on third down. They're really good on fourth down. This is a team that will go for it and convert on any down, basically in any part of the field. You cannot get this Indiana team off the field. I like them a lot offensively.
They're at the top of the Sports Illustrated playoff model. Per Yahoo Sports, their FPI based on chance to make the playoff and even make a deep run is very, very good. I think you talked about it offensively, but the job that Kurt Cignetti's done, man, like this goal is clear, right? Like there's no confusion about what Kurt Cignetti's goal is. Don't forget what Indiana was 2 years ago. Don't forget what Indiana Diesel was 3 years ago and 4 years ago and 5 years ago, because we weren't having this conversation at all about Indiana being the contender.
Well,
and the job that Cignetti's done has just been remarkable.
We're going to find out for sure in a couple of weeks. They have a road game at Purdue. They're going to beat them by name your score.
Yeah.
And then they'll face Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. And
that
we're going to learn
be the game of the year
for real, because at that point it will have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks since they faced a ranked opponent. Now, that was Oregon on the road, Autzen Stadium, tough place to win, right. And they won by 10 points. Then before that, they faced a ranked Illinois, won by 53 points. Okay, they haven't been tested a lot, but they have absolutely dominated just about everybody on their schedule.
Inject Indiana, Ohio State into my veins right now. That might be the game of the year.
I like it.
I'm not kidding, man. I think that could be incredible. How many contenders, legitimate contenders, as we run the break, do you have on your list? Actual contenders to win it all?
I think there's probably about 4, maybe 5. I don't think – I mean, Ohio State looks nigh unbeatable. Indiana looks nigh unbeatable. But outside of that, Cole, I mean, I think you got a handful of teams, A&M, that I think they're angry. I think they had their hiccup and they prevailed. I think Georgia, I think the world of Georgia, I think the world of Ole Miss, and I think the world of Alabama. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I got a handful.
Take back what I said. I have 6 legitimate contenders on my list.
I like it. No pushback. I can't wait for conference championship weekend. I can tell you that right now. That's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a blast. You know what also is going to be fun? Talking to Chris Burgin, the play-by-play voice of the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, as they will go down to Columbia to face the Gamecocks on Saturday. He's coming up next.
Fan Upstate.
Well, we had a guest on earlier in the show who covers South Carolina for a living, and he was a little dismissive of the Gamecocks' opponent on Saturday. The 6-4 Coastal Carolina Chanticleers headed into Williams-Brice Stadium for a 4:15 kickoff on SEC Network. Our next guest, he knows all about the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, been covering them all season long. He is the play-by-play voice of Coastal Carolina, Chris Burgin. Chris, do you like the fact or the idea that maybe some of the South Carolina writers and reporters are a little overconfident about this game on Saturday?
Cole, first off, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's fascinating. I was actually listening to a radio show earlier today, and the guys were saying the unthinkable would happen if Coastal beat South Carolina this weekend. I'm not so sure I go that far. I think your point about dismissive of CCU, I think is very fair. I don't quite get it from a South Carolina perspective, not to throw salt onto the wound, but it's not like the Gamecocks have been blowing teams out all year long. I mean, and keep in mind, South Carolina State from the FCS level played them very well in the first half earlier this season. The Gamecocks just ultimately bigger, faster, stronger, and more bodies were able to pull out that win. But you're talking about FBS versus FBS. Yeah, we're a group of five, but I'm not so sure I'd be that quick to dismiss the Chanticleers and already start looking forward to Clemson, which evidently both schools are doing this weekend with the Tiger Burn last night or night before last, and also Kaye's funeral already taking place this week.
Getting ahead of the curve. Chris, it's Cole here. Appreciate you joining us, man, even if you were hesitant after I told you your counterpart, Smitty, joins us every Friday at 4 o'clock.
And love that. Matt's outstanding. Smitty does a terrific job, so that's great that you guys can have him on because he is a font of knowledge. He's considerably smarter than I am, so
but
always
Chris,
enjoy listening to smart people. That's
one problem with Smitty. We just can't get him to really tell us how he feels. He's short-winded. Right?
Yeah,
Same Smitty?
Yeah, exactly. When the fun part is Smitty's joined us on the Chanticleer Sports Network this year. He's doing women's basketball. And the nice part is he gets to do the entire broadcast by himself. So he can be as long-winded as he wants because he doesn't have to worry about anybody talking back to him.
I love it.
Chris, I know the play status of Samari Collier for this weekend's game is still questionable. I do wonder if maybe Tim Beck is playing a little chess with whether or not Samari Collier is going to play, but we'll get into that here in just a second. What is it about him coming in at the midway point of the season that really has made this team go? Like, I know his stats aren't really jump off the page good, but this team is just better with him on the field. How do you explain it?
Well, guys, one thing about Samari, first off, you have to know sort of his background. He is a winner. Comes from the junior college realm to Coastal Carolina. He was at Hutchinson Community College out in Kansas, which is a dynamite JC program, and he won a national championship there and accounted for about a bazillion yards while he was there. So here's a guy who came in with the stats, and it's really fascinating about the recruiting side of the coin. There was some, question as to whether or not the entire coaching staff at Coastal really wanted to bring him in. Tim Beck was a huge advocate for him, and I actually told Coach I thought that was one of the better recruiting things he did during the offseason was bring Samari in because considering, and we kind of have to go back to the beginning of preseason camp to sort of lay out the entire story. When Drew Hollingshead came in to run the Coastal offense this season from Western Kentucky, he brought in the air raid attack. And the one young man he had pegged to be his starting quarterback, and they felt like he was the perfect fit, was a transfer in Emmett Brown. So they go through the first couple of weeks of preseason camp, and Emmett gets hurt. He goes down. He's out for the year. So all of a sudden, all the preseason plans, you kind of have to take a step back and say, all right, what's plan B? All right, let's go to MJ Morris from the standpoint that MJ worked with Tim Beck when Beck was an assistant at NC State. He transferred from NC State. He also played at Maryland, so they felt like, all right, he was the next best viable option. So MJ gets to start week one against Virginia. We don't play well. Virginia is a whole lot better team than I think people thought they would be at the beginning of the season. So as the season has moved along, that loss doesn't quite look as bad as maybe it did at the beginning of the season, but the offense just did not fare very well. And then you get Charleston Southern the next week, and I think that's when things started to really turn. that the coaching staff looked and said, you know what, MJ's the offense is just not fitting him. And he made some bad turnovers. He would tell you this, bad throws inside the red zone. Quite frankly, we were fortunate to win that game against Charleston Southern 13-0. And quite frankly, that's the way the game played out. Just too many turnovers inside the red zone. So Tad Hudson, transfer from North Carolina, had a fabulous career up near Charlotte in the state of North Carolina as a high school kid, set all kinds of records. Went to North Carolina, didn't get to play there, transferred to Coastal, actually started our bowl game last year in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and struggled a little bit, but quite frankly, not all his fault, guys, because the majority of our team decided they were going to jump in the transfer portal and go elsewhere. So he didn't have a whole lot of help around him. We ended up losing that game to UTSA. And so then Tad steps in, gives us just enough cushion to beat Charleston Southern. And so he's now the starter moving forward and had a nice win against South Alabama. But you could just see there was still something amiss about the offense. And then we get to the Louisiana Monroe game, which was played in sort of tropical storm type conditions. I mean, just miserable day along the Grand Strand. And unfortunately, Tad's trying to score early in the ball game and gets flipped up and actually almost landed on his head. So he's hurt. He exits the ball game. Samari Collier comes in, and we're thinking, all right, what is he going to do? And then Samari just gets the offense to move up and down the field. And the one thing he's been able to add to the program is his ability to run the football. He's a big kid. He's built more, and I hate the Gamecock fans are probably not going to be able to see him this weekend because he's built more like a tight end or a linebacker than he is a quarterback. And so, I mean, he's got really, really good speed, had an 85-yard touchdown run a couple of ball games ago on the first play from scrimmage for Coastal against Marshall that kind of set the tone. And so he's just really added a different dynamic. He can throw a really nice deep ball, but his aspect is more in the run game. Coupled with the 4 running backs that Coastal already had, you really started to see that run game explode, and that's why Coastal has been so successful the last several weeks. He gets tackled in the first quarter against Georgia Southern this past weekend, actually lands on his knee. Looks like it's an injury that may keep him out for a couple of weeks, so it's probably going to be this weekend. More than likely Tad Hudson to start. If not, it'll be MJ Morris, and those will be the 2 guys who ironically played earlier this season, so have some experience, but Samari is probably the better fit to the offense right now.
Chris, do you think there's a little bit of a regret on the part of the coaching staff for not getting Samari in there earlier?
Well, you just didn't know, guys, because they looked at the offense and I think didn't have the sort of air raid attack that Drew Hollingshead wanted to run. Samari doesn't really fit that. That's not what he does. He's better in the spread, run pass option type attack. And what they've done, and I give Drew Hollingshead, the offensive coordinator, and that entire offensive staff a lot of credit. They basically said, hey, we don't have the personnel now to be able to run exactly what I'd like to do. Maybe we can do that next year or the year after. But for now, let's find out what Samari does well, and let's tailor make the offense to what he does. And it's worked extremely well. Last 4 ball games have scored 40 points plus in each of the outings. The offense has been really, really sharp. And now you bring Tad Hudson back in, and if he plays Saturday, which I think he probably will, I think he'll be the starter. You probably got a situation where he's the better passer of the 2, just not the better runner of the 2.
At the beginning of the season, some people were saying that Tim Beck probably on the hot seat there in Conway. Would you say that is still the case after going on a good start to the season, 6-3 so far?
I would think that's a massive mistake if Coach Beck is still on the hot seat. I think he's done a terrific job of sort of rallying the troops. You're right. After the Charleston Southern game, and then, of course, the East Carolina contest when ECU came into Conway and just blitzed the Chanticleers, there were not a lot of people that were on Coastal's bandwagon right then. And then kind of go to South Alabama, get a win, but then you face Old Dominion, and ODU just beat us up and down the field. And that was probably one of the more devastating losses of the season, just because you feel like you've got a little momentum. You go into Norfolk and they run away with the victory. So yeah, there were some folks outside the program that weren't real happy and would have been more than happy to see Tim Beck sort of jettisoned out of there probably early in the season. But I think a smart decision just to let it play out and what they've done. And I think Samari Collier has been a major factor in that. The offense has gotten better. The defense has continued to play pretty solid football most of the year, with the exception of Georgia Southern on Saturday. So yeah, no, I think Coach Beck is his backside has cooled off considerably, and I think it should, considering all the injuries that Coastal's dealt with, not just at the quarterback position, but also on the offensive line. Two of their stalwarts at linebacker have missed several games in Shane Bruce and Wyatt Getty. And so really the injury bug has hit Coastal extremely well. And for this team to be bowl eligible, considering how they started, I think is a remarkable job by that coaching staff.
We're talking to Chris Burgin, play-by-play voice of Coastal Carolina. Kind of a big picture question, but maybe a thought-provoking question as well, Chris, when you talk about Drew Hollingshead and the offensive coordinator and, you know, his philosophy of wanting to be a little bit more air raid, the injuries, throwing a wrench in things. Do you think that changes Tim Beck's and other coaches' opinion on being married to an offensive coordinator that's also married to a certain style of philosophy instead of being a little bit more big picture and allowing, you know, the personnel and the talent to dictate the scheme?
That's a fascinating question, and I'm not sure if I have the knowledge to give you the correct answer on this, but I think one thing, and I'll go back to the initial thing when Drew came in, they were going to run the air raid under a certain quarterback in Emmett Brown, and unfortunately that just didn't work with Emmett going down. So it's a fascinating thing, and I think the one luxury that Coastal has, and Drew is still a relatively young coach, and he's being mentored by his head coach, Tim Beck, who is sort of an offensive guru, especially at the quarterback position. Here's a guy who's worked in Texas, who's worked at Ohio State, who's worked at NC State. He understands the quarterback position probably as well as anybody. And I am fortunate, and I really mean that. I'm very fortunate to be able to sit in with Coach once a week, and we go over. He shows me film. This was his idea, not mine, because I don't ever like to bother the coaches, but he's, gosh, I can't remember. It was probably second or third week of the season. He was just trying to vent after a tough loss, and I think he wanted to show me some clips. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a master class in running both offense and defense. So I love the thought process of maybe not being married to an offense, but I think you also have to be able to go out and try and find guys. You've got to have some sort of plan.
Yeah.
You've got to have some sort of plan as your offensive coordinator to be able to establish something, a baseline where the coaches, the players can come in and say, this is what we do well. What Coastal does well now offensively is run the football. And they have found that out as the season has moved along. They throw it when they need to, but they are certainly a team that's going to try and run the football. And I would not be surprised if they're able to scrub out over 100 yards at least against South Carolina. As good as the Gamecocks defense has been this season, Coastal has run the football on virtually everybody. And the last 4 or 5 ball games, they've been able to scrub out over 200 yards rushing. And for the most part, that has been a sort of the bellwether stat for them. If they get to 200 yards under Tim Beck, they're going to win. One of the 2 lone exceptions was Saturday against Georgia Southern, and part of that was just self-destruction. I mean, they had so many penalties and things that they had not done all season long. So, but back to, long-winded answer to your question, back to the original question. I think Drew Hollingshead having an idea of what he wants to do in the air raid is the right approach. You've just also got to have the right guys to be able to execute it.
Talking to Chris Burgin, the play-by-play voice of Coastal Carolina football. Zeke Campbell off the edge. He's a monster. He's kind of hogging up all the numbers, especially when it comes to sacks. But we know that South Carolina struggles with pressure. Lenore Sellers pressured on, I think the stat earlier today, 45% of snaps. How will Jeremiah Johnson's defense kind of get pressure or maybe simulate pressure from other positions against this South Carolina front to maybe allow Zeke to create?
Well, I think Zeke on one side, and then you also have Noah Arinze on the other side. Those 2 guys have been fantastic. And one thing about Jeremiah Johnson's defense, and I joked with Coach way back early in the season as we started to see the defense improve and steadily get better week in and week out, I told Coach, because he brought him over from Louisiana Tech. So both coordinators for Coastal this season are new. And I joked with Coach and I said, he may have actually been the steal in the transfer portal, because here's a guy who totally revamped Louisiana Tech's defense, took them from one of the worst in FBS last year to one of the better teams at the FBS level in terms of defense. And he's brought that same philosophy. It's a 3-3-5 type defense. It's something that actually South Carolina, I think, used to run several years ago. But this is what they like to do. And the one guy to keep an eye on for Gamecock fans watching the game will be number 6, Zamarian Gordon. He plays what they call the dog position, and it's basically a hybrid safety linebacker, and he actually leads Coastal in tackles. He's got a couple of tackles for loss. He also leads the Chanticleers in interceptions. He makes his presence known. He can blitz if necessary, but he also can drop back in coverage. That's how athletic he is. But yeah, to get pressure on Lenore Sellers, that's going to be the key. And the problem is, if you start to get pressure on him, does he scramble out of the pocket and really start to hurt you? Because we all know how good a runner Sellers is. Coastal has done a nice job of getting to the quarterback, forcing quarterbacks into bad mistakes. Certainly have gotten them on the ground. This will be by far, I think, their most difficult challenge, to try and put some pressure on just an outstanding athlete in Lenore Sellers this weekend.
Chris, my last question for you. You mentioned earlier, bigger, faster, stronger. Do you see maybe like a Clemson-Furman game from a few years ago where Clemson beat Furman by 3 or 4 scores, but Furman outgained Clemson on that Saturday? Do you see a situation in where Coastal could take advantages of a game within the game on Saturday?
Well, I think 2 things will play into that. First off, Coach Beck saying earlier this week, the one thing that Coastal cannot do is turn the football over. Yeah. The Chanticleers have been great at getting turnovers. This is a fascinating story. Back to Jeremiah Johnson. He's nicknamed the defense the Soul Collectors. And if you're at the game on Saturday and you see Coastal get a turnover, you will see them go to the sidelines and they will grab a little miniature skull that's a skeleton and put it on the sword that they have on the sidelines. And whomever has recovered the fumble or the interception will also put on a skeletal mask. So that's they basically look at it as, we're taking your soul.
I love it.
When we get a turnover. So yeah, that'll be something to watch out of these guys. But they will have to force some turnovers for sure. And Coastal's done a very good job with that, inside the top 15 nationally in terms of takeaways. That'll be one aspect they have to do. Plus, can they play keep away and run the football, maintain the clock, shorten the game? And then you start getting into the psyche. And I think this is really the game within the game to address your question, because I think, what's the mindset of the Gamecocks coming off that inexplicable loss at Texas A&M on Saturday? They've got virtually nothing to play for this weekend, with the exception of trying to honor their seniors, who they'll honor before the game. And then, of course, next weekend they've got the in-state rivalry game with Clemson. So are they looking at wanting to finish the season well on 2 wins? Or are they just looking at the Clemson game? Are they still thinking about the A&M game? I think that's where Coastal actually has an advantage. Chanticleer's beaten up, sure, difficult loss themselves. Had they beaten Georgia Southern on Saturday, next weekend's game against James Madison would have been for the Sun Belt East Division crown and a trip to the Sun Belt Championship game. Instead, it won't be. James Madison's already clinched. So how do the Chanticleers respond? Coaches said they've had a good week of practice. They've come back out. They realize the opportunity in front of them. So I think from a motivational standpoint, Coastal's obviously going to be, I would think, a little more motivated than Gamecocks. Talent-wise, the Gamecocks clearly, if you just look at them on paper, they certainly are probably the more talented team. But are they mentally in the game? Or are they still thinking about what happened to them in the second half last week in College Station?
Well, Chris, I'll look out for you in the press box on Saturday. I'll be down there, though I know you'll be busy at halftime doing your halftime show. But maybe we can rub elbows, shake hands, and enjoy some time together.
I love it, guys. Appreciate you having me on. Look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday, and hope everybody enjoys the football weekend. Should be fun here in the state with Coastal and South Carolina, of course, Furman and Clemson this weekend.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you, man. Chris Burgin, play-by-play voice of Coastal Carolina. Really good stuff there, man. That was very informative, I will say.
It's so good talking to play-by-play guys, right? These are talkers for a living.
Yeah.
Sometimes coaches, they get a little quiet. They clam up a little bit.
Man, good stuff. Appreciate Chris taking time to join us. Diesel, breaking news. I've declared my upset pick. So Tolo, stay away. I'll tell you what my upset pick is. We'll remind the Tolos who Diesel took in the upset picks challenge, and we need your upset picks next at 844-326-3663.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, the saying better late than never, Diesel, applies because I did not get my upset pick in yesterday, but better late than never. I got mine in today, and I am I'm feeling 2 wins in a row. Now, I will be very upfront. I'll preface by saying I'm not being risky this week. We're not risking it for the biscuit. I am going with the Minnesota Golden Gophers plus 3.5 over Northwestern. A small spread, but
big spender.
I know, but let me tell you, I like the confidence, Diesel. I like building confidence. You gotta win this week. It doesn't matter how many points. 3.5. Oh, you're going real big.
I'm going real big. Especially because I didn't know that Samari Collier probably not going to play. But then again, some of the reports are conflicting. Maybe in the last segment of the show, maybe Chris was kind of shining us on a little bit. Maybe he was playing into the myth that Samari Collier not going to play.
But here's the reality of it. I can't win the thing. But what I can do is I can continue to add a little bit here, add a little bit here, add a little bit here. That's what I'm doing. I'm adding a little bit here.
The goal is to finish inside the top 25. If you can do that. So you have how many points, Cole? I think 16.
16 sounds right.
So you'd be at 19.5 if you hit on this one.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to pull up the very latest
I need a big one here sooner than later, but I really like Minnesota plus 3.5.
That would jump you from column 4 to column 3.
There we go.
And there you go. And then you're right there on the fringe of the top 50.
See?
Still with a lot of time to go in this thing, by the way. A lot of time.
That's what I'm saying. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. Not a lot of time, but Dale wants to weigh in. What's up, Dale?
Well, at least you got that going for you because you've been mathematically eliminated from the fantasy football playoff contention.
Well, I'm on Prize Picks now. I'm getting my fix in every night on Prize Picks, so I don't need the little fantasy football league. Thank you.
Oh, he starts it and then he's not winning it. Do you hear this, Dale?
I'm out.
I'm not going to win.
You know what that sounds like? A lot of saltiness.
No, not me. You got your upset pick in?
It's okay. I'm sorry?
Where's your upset pick?
Look, I told myself.
I hear a lot of
salt I hear. Is that salt I hear, Dale?
No. I'm doing it next year. I told myself.
Next year?
What do you mean next year? You don't have to sign a contract, Dale.
No, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to give my 100%.
No, you can get. Oh my gosh! Wait, are you kidding me right now?
Absolutely not. I'm in it to win it, my guy.
But you can still win this year.
You could start playing and get the idea of what to do. And then
I know what to do. I've listened to it for the last 3 years, back when that guy from Detroit was doing it.
Well, maybe your goal should be to beat me in the challenge, Dale. If you could beat me, then that's little goals, okay? Little challenges.
No, I go big or I go home. So I'm going big.
I don't think he's gonna do it next year. I think he's afraid.
Scared.
Well, I promise. Put it down. Make a promo. It's happening. Okay. Next year.
Harold told us he was going to win this thing, and we haven't heard from Harold all season. I don't want that to happen to you, Dale.
Oh, you'll hear from me no matter what. As long as Cole continues to do what he does in fantasy, you're going to hear about it.
Thanks, Dale. Appreciate you.
Good God.
Wait until next year. Come on. Come on.
I'm a little less confident in my pick of Coastal over South Carolina, plus 23.5. But you know what I heard from our last caller? We got a North Carolina transfer, a Tar Heel transfer who got out just in time. Going to take on the Gamecocks. I still like my chances.
Never know.
I never know. When we come back, Cole, an idea that has been floated out there for the NFL. I want to see how you feel about this idea that would see something that is well-known, well-trodden in soccer make its way into professional American football. Next.
Electrifying sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
It's funny, Cole, when it rains, it pours. Dan B just messaged in on the stream and says the largest pick ever in the Upset Picks Challenge has just been received.
What? And
then right on cue, another Tolo taking that exact same game has texted in. It's almost like they're hanging out together, colluding. Tolo J. Butane and Inmanite Kev
wait a minute.
have both taken Syracuse plus 35.5 over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
35. Wait a minute. You're telling me 35.5 points is the biggest one this year?
Yep.
That's surprise. I'm surprised somebody hadn't just gone stupid already and taken a bigger point spread. That's a lot of points. Syracuse over Notre Dame, not going to happen. I love Fran Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I think the world of Fran Brown, but that's not going to happen. I will say this. I'm surprised it's 35.5. I thought it might be more like 28.5. 35.5 does feel massive. Hey, would I sprinkle Diesel a little bit on Syracuse to cover? Yeah. To win the game? No.
It's hard to beat anybody by 35 points.
Listen to this. He says, no. That's not the biggest one this year. It's the biggest one ever. Breaking news. The biggest upset pick selection.
Wow.
Submitted in. Diesel, I am very surprised by that. And by the way, if there was a spread on Clemson Furman, wouldn't it be probably a little bit more than
around 35? Yeah. Well,
I would imagine.
Interesting. Tolos, if you haven't gotten us your upset pick now for week number 13, do it. Marvy Marv, Brandon in Spartanburg, Kevin Bugs, Tim D, Gamecock Mark, Tolo Sean, Michael T from Gaffney. Y'all are all getting your upset picks in, so keep them coming.
Let's
Give us
go.
your name, your
go.
game, and the spread, and don't be a wuss like Dale. Well, I don't want to start it in the season because I want to be in it to win it. No. Jump in now because you never know how high you could reach on the Upset Pick Challenge. Maybe you go on a heater and you finish in the top half of this thing and you hadn't even played all season until now.
And you never know. I mean, like, for example, last year when we were in the thick, I don't remember exactly what time of year it was, but Harold didn't enter the Upset Picks Challenge until really late. Like maybe October, mid-October, late October, and he ended up catapulting himself all the way near the top. So you know what?
It can be done.
You can't enter too late. There's no such thing as too late. So was it yesterday? We had a Tolo get in and say it was his first time getting in on the challenge. So Tolos, let's get 3 new Tolos in this segment.
So
3.
Cole, I know you're a much, much bigger NFL diehard fan than I am. I like the NFL. I watch the NFL on Sundays, but I don't live, eat, sleep, and breathe it the way that you and a lot of our Tolos do. I wonder, though, if I could propose, and this is not me proposing it. This is Nate Davis from USA Today who proposed this, but I'm going to pitch it to you. And you tell me if you think this is a system that might work out in the NFL. They've been doing it in international soccer forever.
Yeah, I say
it's called the loaner system. The loaner system in soccer across the pond. Basically, what it is when a team has a player that's young, needs a little bit of a development, needs to be out on the field, but they're not putting them out there as often as they would like to, they will loan that player to another club. Let him go get some playing time over there. We still hold his contract. He still plays for us, but he's currently suiting up for you. So imagine the possibility, Cole, in the NFL, instead of doing this, trades at the middle point of the season, and that's as deep into the season as you can go. What if I got this guy that I think the world of? I think he's a prospect that we think could get really good in a couple of years, but he's playing behind somebody who's a veteran, who's just winning out and getting more reps. But I'm going to send him, like, let's say I'm the Browns. This is the example that Nate Davis gave from USA Today. We're the Browns, and we got Myles Garrett. And that guy is a phenomenal football player. But we're also a terrible football franchise, and we're not going to win anything this year. We want to find ways to keep Myles Garrett happy and with the Browns. So what we're going to do is once we're eliminated from the playoffs, which is week one for the Browns, we're going to put Myles Garrett out there on the loaner market, and we're going to see, hey, could another team use Myles Garrett for the back half of the season? Maybe you can loan him out starting in the last 8 games or the last 6 games, whatever it may be. We're going to let him go chase numbers with a good team. We still hold his contract, so we can pull him back anytime we want. But we're going to let Myles Garrett go play for the Panthers, for example, for the last 6 weeks of the season. What do you think about that?
That might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Why? It works in soccer.
But soccer's not in football. Soccer, look, you flop in soccer, you fake injuries in soccer, you pretend you're hurt in soccer. Nobody's ever been injured playing soccer, right? Ever.
You get kicked in the shins.
I know somebody's yelling at the radio right now. I call you an idiot.
Concussions.
I say that tongue in cheek.
You know, soccer has the highest rate of concussions of any sport in the world.
They're fake. It's fake numbers. It's fake numbers. It's not real. Okay. You're telling me if I have a guy in Myles Garrett who's one of the best in his position, I want to allow him to prostitute himself to another organization, take the chance on him getting hurt, CTE, concussion, season-ending injury, getting in a rack up in Charlotte because Charlotte's known for a lot of racks. Their quarterback got in the rack.
But here's the thing. Miles wants to be on a good team. Miles wants to win.
I'm sorry, Miles.
Miles wants to go chase trophies and awards. So
request a trade.
We're gonna let him go. Yeah. So there you go. That's your option. Is you never give Miles what he wants. You never put Myles Garrett in a position to be successful. So he just requests a trade. Now you're without him anyway. So, or you loan him out to another team for a couple of weeks. You get considerations back. It's not just, hey, we're going to let Myles go play for another team.
What do I get?
You could get conditional draft picks. You could get cash. You could get, as of right now, this is not a thing you can do in the NFL. You could let a team take on part of your salary cap. So if you got nothing in salary cap because you're over leveraged, hey, we'll let Myles Garrett come play for you for a little while, but we're also going to need you to cover about $10 million in our salary cap so that next year we got some money to spend on some more players.
You know what? I hear you. To me, there's too many risks involved. I just think a loaner system, it sounds like prostitution. I mean, you can come up with ways it could work with player development, right? Backup quarterbacks. I'm not saying I don't see any upside whatsoever. I think with backup quarterbacks and young quarterbacks, like a Tyler Shuck or a Spencer Rattler, I think that could there could be upside there. But I think the salary cap would make it really complicated, right? There's no hard cap to my knowledge.
It's already incredibly complicated.
But there's no cap in soccer. And clubs negotiate, who pays what portion of wagers. I think the cap would really make it difficult for it to happen in the NFL. And you know what? Like, we're still trying to win. And I know, Diesel, there are teams here and there that I'm going to put quotes around it and are tanking, right? But no, I'm not going to give you my best. I still want to win Sunday. Why am I going to give you my best player when I'm trying to win?
If I'm Cleveland, well, you're not going to win. You're eliminated from the playoffs.
Well, I'm trying to win.
That's who would loan players out. Teams that are eliminated from the playoffs. Because if you told me, hey, we'll give you Myles for the back half of the season, but you're going to have to give us some draft picks so that next year, now we're absolutely loaded with draft picks and draft capital. You can package some of those together, send the picks right back out, do what you want to do with them. But talk about a way to rebuild your franchise way faster.
But you're not rebuilding it. You're just putting the Band-Aid on it, right?
Well, you're not rebuilding it right now this season.
Yeah.
You're rebuilding it next season.
I think you would lose the competitive parity. Like, you want parity in the NFL. And if teams can just keep themselves in playoff contention and the only thing they have to go do is go get a hooker, then guess what? There's nothing,
But don't we want to see the best players play late in the season? No. You're okay with seeing elite level players sitting at home not playing in the playoffs?
Get better. Do better at your job.
Okay.
Look, I'll say this.
It's an out there notion. It really
Development also, and here's where I'm going to stand my ground. Development, Diesel, also works a lot differently in football than it does in soccer. I believe I am not going to sit here and act like I'm a soccer enthusiast by any means.
I'm not either.
But I believe you can plug and play, okay? Plug and play a lot easier in soccer than you can in football. Football is deeply system specific, right? You have the terminology, the playbooks, the blocking schemes, the defensive calls, the route trees.
Teams are all running the same systems.
No. Soccer, you just throw a guy out there and you say, see ball, kick ball. That's it. I hate this.
There are 1,000,001 soccer fans in the audience right now who would tell you that's a lie. There's all kinds of strategy, and there's all kind of positioning, all kinds of scheme involved in soccer.
Oh my gosh. Let's see what Dewey says about this. I'm sure Dewey's got an opinion. What's up, Dewey?
Yes, I'm hearing some very upsetting stuff coming from you, Cole. First of all, soccer is a real sport. You kick the ball, and they kick people in their shins, they tackle people, they rip their heads off, they get injured like real football players. So it's a real sport. Golf is not a real sport because you got a club, you hit a little white ball, and that's it. Oh my God, you get maybe your wrist hurts or something, but that's about it. And that's blasphemy that you would say that. And yes, you would want your best players on your team to play in the playoffs.
So you're for this, Dewey?
Yes.
For what reason?
Because you want your best players on the field.
Yeah, but it's a loaner program, Dewey.
On the field for?
It's a loaner program.
So they'll get better.
Well, how would you feel if we loaned you to another radio station for a couple of weeks and you couldn't call us back for 3 weeks?
Oh, well, there isn't really any other radio stations, but there's the politics station.
First smartest thing he said on the show.
There
are no other radio stations.
This is it. This is all there is right here.
Then you got the pretend Clemson stations, but they're on the college, and then they like Dabo. So I can call them up, but I don't want to call them. They suck.
Thanks, Dewey.
But it's blasphemous to say soccer's not a sport when golf is not a sport.
Dewey, I'm saying it tongue in cheek. I'm kidding. I don't like soccer. I'm talking trash about it. You heard of radio before?
Well, yeah, but soccer is a real sport, and I don't like soccer because soccer sucks and it's boring, but they get hurt just as bad as anyone else. So hockey's fake. They fight.
No, it's not.
They have knives strapped to their feet, Dewey.
They literally
that's not
fight
fake at all.
every play, every night.
But then they have fighting time.
Fighting time.
But if they start fighting in the NBA or if the football players start fighting in NFL, they'll get suspended and fined and kicked off the team.
Contradictory. Thanks, Dewey.
Thanks, Dewey.
Oh, my gosh.
Brandon Burnett says, I think the player would enjoy winning and have to go back to the other team and just request a trade and not play till that happens. Well, if maybe the contract needs to be a little more airtight.
Maybe so. Back to the phone lines. T-Experience wants to weigh in. What's up, man?
What's up, guys? What's up? So, is it me or is it that Dewey is like Xavier Legette, but in the opposite direction? Now, Xavier got worse, more country with his accent, and Dewey is now somehow going in the opposite direction. You can actually understand what he's saying. So it was fake all along.
Well, he's actually T-Experience. He's just becoming more professional by the day. He might be hosting a show before you know it.
Hey, I hope so. I'll be all ears. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, man.
Experience.
In and out. In and out. Good stuff. I will say the fact that soccer does it is interesting. You know, I'm dismissing it. I'm not a fan of it. But
how much of your dismissal is it just because soccer does it? I don't like it.
I would say probably 30%, and then another 30% just due to the fact that I don't like. You know, I like it the way it is.
If you're not okay with loaning out stars, maybe you loan out developmental guys. You know, maybe you loan out your backup quarterback. Maybe you loan out your starter who had a rough start to the season, so you loan him out. Maybe he goes over to somewhere else and has a phenomenal season.
But isn't that what the practice squad is for in the NFL? Like, cut them, let them go join the practice squad, earn it. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not a wild notion. I'm just bringing it up because I thought it was a fascinating topic. And you're 100%. You're not lying to me. This is a real thing. You're not lying to me.
No, I mean, it's a suggestion.
No, I'm saying it really happens in soccer.
Oh, it really happens in soccer. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Let's say
you could be lying to me right now for 15 minutes. I'm too ignorant about soccer to know that you'd be lying to me. I fact check Diesel. I wouldn't know. I don't watch soccer. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's 10 forward playing players, not including the goalie, so 11. So 10 players in soccer. Obviously, far fewer players see the field. They play for long stretches of the game. It's different. Like, you get subbed out, you're out. You can't go back into the game. So, sometimes you got guys that you think are really, really good, but they're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put them out on the field for long periods of time, but you got to get them some experience.
I'd be jealous.
You got to get them some time.
I'd be jealous.
Some playing reps.
No, I'm too jealous to do that. I don't want my shiny toy showing off with another logo on his head, right? I want him showing out for me. Madcraft on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line says Dewey was a cheerleader in high school, by the way. I can see that.
Joe, it must make it really tough for you to watch Packers games this year.
Who's that?
You.
Why?
Micah. He's gone.
Yeah, but Micah, we won that trade.
Yeah, but you were devastated.
Yeah, I was. But you know what?
Devastated.
Jerry has done this. He has pulled me back in.
Oh, God.
Typical
the
Cowboys
fan.
Won that trade, Diesel.
Typical.
Micah Parsons was a cancer. I'm glad we got rid of him. Laying on training tables. Are you kidding me? We won that trade. I really believe that. I do not miss Micah Parsons whatsoever. Joe D getting his upset pick in, by the way, going Nebraska plus 7.5 over Penn State. Is that the most popular pick by far?
I'm pretty sure.
I still don't know what's in the water on that pick, Diesel.
14 picks for that one so far. 14 picks.
There is something about that one, man. That I don't even know if I looked at it as an early lean, to be honest with you.
Did you see? I didn't either. Why would I even look at that one? Did you see that Dylan Raiola's little brother has decommitted from Nebraska?
No.
Yeah, they thought they were going to get him too. Not so much now.
Does he look like Mahomes too?
I think so. What?
I don't know. Good luck to the Tolos out there. I mean, I just didn't have that one on there. On my
his name is
leans.
Dayton Raiola.
I like it. Like it. Diesel, let's go to break. On the other side, we are not, and I mean capital NOT, going behind enemy lines. Let me be very clear. We are not going behind enemy lines, even though we always bring on the opposing play-by-play voice of whoever Clemson and South Carolina plays. Well, it just so happens, Fan Upstate, the station that you and I work for, we carry Furman. Well, that's who Clemson plays this weekend.
So would Don Munson be going behind enemy lines?
Maybe, but Don Munson's next week because South Carolina plays Clemson. So it's really confusing. Nonetheless, we're keeping the tradition. We talked to Chris Burgin, play-by-play voice of Coastal in the last hour. We bring on a familiar voice, Dan Scott, play-by-play voice of the Furman Paladins next. Well, we've talked to Chris Burgin, play-by-play voice of the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, on the show today. We continue our tradition of bringing on whoever Clemson and South Carolina is playing in a segment we normally call Behind Enemy Lines, but because Clemson is playing Furman this Saturday, there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that we could say more about Dan Scott than friendly fire, I believe is the term that he gave me yesterday.
Frenemies? Are we frenemies with Dan Scott right now?
I think it's a great term, but nonetheless, play-by-play voice of the Furman Paladins, a game in which you'll hear from Dan Scott right here on the Fan Upstate Saturday, Clemson-Furman. Dan, how the heck are you, man?
Well, I'm good, but I got to tell you that when the phone rang, and this is a true story, on my phone, your number came up as scam likely.
Well, that's true.
And then I remembered who was producing the show, and I said, well, likely's not strong enough. So.
That is true. And I'll also follow up with a funny story. Diesel today can attest this is a true story. Diesel got to the station I think around the same time I did, but I was watching right before 2:30 today. I said, I'm going to run and get me a Red Bull. I've got to get an energy drink. I came back, parked the car, leaned the seat back. I said, I'm going to rest for just a few minutes before we go on the air. And I was watching your Furman video that you put out, or that Furman, Furman football, the account put out on Twitter, with you doing your 8-10 minute, preview. Is that right? And
yeah, about a 12-minute preview.
I can say, don't take this as a slight, I fell asleep listening to Dan Scott today.
Well, I'm not really comfortable with the fact that you're watching a video of me and reclining in your car while you're doing so.
Yep.
We're going to be honest with people.
Well,
So, I mean,
I wanted to be informed, Dan.
Yeah, that's one word for it.
Dan, welcome to the show. We're off to a weird start already. Dan Scott, who our listeners hear on the station 3 times a week at this time of year, with Furman basketball and Furman football. But one of your promos just ran, I think, 30 seconds before bringing you on. You talked about Clemson, Furman shocking the world against Clemson this weekend, a monumentous task going on the road at Clemson, but Furman has acquitted itself quite well a few times over the years in this very stadium. Can you get a feeling of the years where you think Furman might have something to play well against Clemson for a majority of the game?
Yeah, I tell you, if we had the 2022 or 23 team playing this Clemson team, I would like our chances to make them really, really nervous. Because, in 22, we played over there, got beat 35-12, but actually outgained them in total yardage in that game. And they had taken their first string defense out of the game and put them back in midway through the fourth quarter to try to keep us from scoring a touchdown. So, and of course, those were two of the better teams in 22 and 23 that we had in recent years. The 23 team, was an overtime play away of hosting the national semifinals. So yeah, if we had one of those teams, this is not that year, but I'll tell you, we have some individual players who I think have a chance to show the world that they can play against that level of competition. It's going to be fun to watch Joshua Stoneking, our defensive end, who leads the free world in sacks, and it's going to be fun to watch our freshman wide receiver Evan James get to play at this, among others. But those are the two names that stick out.
Dan, how does something like that happen? I know football is a strange lady, but you mentioned it a couple of years ago, Furman losing the game by 2 or 3 scores to Clemson, but outgaining them. How in the world does that happen?
Well, I mean, first of all, you have to have good players in your own right.
Sure.
And that the 22 team and the 23 team reap the benefits of a bunch of players getting the extra year because of COVID. And so we were a very veteran team. If you remember, after the 23 season, when that was over, we lost 41 players.
Yeah.
So, and that put us in a serious rebuilding mode, which is, where we are right now, 2 years later. So you've got to have good players. And then, the other team has to, let's face it, a team like Clemson to lose to Furman, they got to make mistakes. They've got to have key players injured. And I know they're beat up along their offensive line. I think both of their starting guards were injured against Louisville last week. One of them maybe even in a celebration after the game and are out. But Kaye Klubnik's going to be there. Adam Randall's going to be there. Their receivers are going to be there. Their big defensive front is going to be there. So in a game like this, you've got to get some help. And all you can hope for is to take a team deep into a game and make them very, very uncomfortable. And the longer that you stay within a score, the tighter they get, and I think the looser you get.
Dan, is there anything that you can see from Dwayne Vaughn's defense that you think, could kind of confuse Kaye Klubnik's eyes a little bit? He has not been, his normal self. He has not been crisp this season. And I know some guys on this defense have picked off a couple of passes this year. And do you think there's an opportunity there maybe to kind of confuse Kaye at times?
I don't know. The biggest issue we have had is we have not been able to develop a significant pass rush outside of Stone King. And so when you have to do different things to try to generate pressure on the quarterback, then it causes you to take away possible strengths in other areas. Our cornerbacks have not been as good as, say, those 22 and 23 teams were when we had a couple of lockdown corners. So you didn't have to protect them in your defensive calls as much as maybe he has to do now. Our safety play has been kind of hit and miss a little bit. But I think the biggest thing is, can you get pressure on him? And, Stone King has 13.5 sacks. We don't have anybody else on the team with more than a sack and a half.
Wow.
So that's the, that's the big thing. So I don't know if confusing him is the right thing to say. I think if we could find a way to generate some pass rush against a beat up offensive line, then maybe you can make some things happen.
Dan, I guess the double-edged sword of that, when you just mentioned Stone King, is that right?
Yes.
Stone King, and a few minutes ago you mentioned the stage for these Furman players that they're playing on Saturday. I guess the downside, maybe, tell me if I'm off on this, is that a guy like Stone King does go into Clemson on national television and has a magnificent performance. Now, all of a sudden, in a world of transfer portal, in the era of the transfer portal, a lot more eyeballs, a lot more coaches' eyeballs are now on Stone King. Does that worry you at all if you're Furman?
Well, I think it's something you have to be cognizant of.
Yeah.
Let's call it like it is. You're living in a different world. Clemson has a $20 million payroll.
Right.
And so they're always, or any other school is going to be looking for good players in the transfer portal. Yeah. The thing about our kids is, and I'm not saying we're not going to lose anybody in the portal. Inevitably we will. I don't think Stone King will be one of them, quite honestly. But we've got some recent evidence of kids leaving us for what they thought were greener pastures, and they're not getting to play, or they're playing very sparingly. Whereas, if they stay at Furman, they're getting a world-class education and they get to play college football. So, it's a balance. I'll tell you this. Sometimes it's just a matter of going out and playing your best. Was talking with Dwayne Vaughn today, of all people, where we were talking about offense. And I don't know if you guys remember Dakota Dozier. When he was at Furman, he got drafted, I think, in the 4th round by the Jets after the 2013 season. And it was the game we played against LSU in 2013 that got him drafted, because that was the one game that he had against that level of competition that NFL scouts could see.
Wow.
Dan,
So,
sorry, go ahead.
No, and I'm just saying. So, yeah, there are a lot of things to take in consideration here.
Dan, we know what generally happens in FCS versus power conference matchups. I think the average margin of victory this season is about 29 points when you talk about FCS versus Power 4 competition. But occasionally, those major upsets and those tight games do happen. From your time talking to players in the past who have been in games not dissimilar from what happened last year on the road against Ole Miss, what do they take out of games like this? It's one of their probably 3-4 opportunities over the course of their careers at Furman to play in giant stadiums that are packed with 80,000 fans. But what else on top of that do they take out of these games?
Well, I think that's the first thing. I did the math earlier this week, which is dangerous for me, but we have played combined in 11 games in front of just over 82,000 fans this year. There will be almost that many at Death Valley on Saturday. So getting the opportunity to play on that stage, and, I don't care what level you're at, you want a chance to compete against the best. You want a chance to maybe show a school or somebody at that school's level that they should have offered you and given you a chance to come to that school. They're always looking for opportunities, man. They just want to get a chance to go out and show out. And look, there's not going to be any pressure on Furman in this game at all. They're going to be able to play loose. They'll be able to play free. All Clay Hendricks wants to do is play as well as he can and use it as a stepping stone towards continuing to build for next season. Yeah, are they preparing to win the game? Absolutely. We know what the reality is. But I guarantee you they're going to come out and they're not going to be playing with any pressure. I can promise you that.
Dan, a few minutes ago, you mentioned being able to get a world-class education at Furman. In a new era of college football, does Furman still hold on to the same recruiting pitches that they always have? The reason I ask this is we just saw a local recruit here out of the upstate from Gaffney and Banks Boughton, whose dad played at Furman, Hall of Famer and Will Boughton. His son Banks, quarterback for Gaffney, just got offered from Furman last Saturday, and then just a few days later, yesterday, announced his commitment. In the new era, in this crazy time we live in with college football changing so rapidly, does Furman still have that special recruiting pitch that allows players to be able to find the place that they want to be and commit as quickly as some do?
Well, the thing you have to understand about Furman is that the pool of potential student athletes they start with is significantly smaller anyway because of the academic standards.
Right.
And I tell people that I'm the only Division I announcer in the country that works for a school that would not have let him in as a student. And that's it's funny, but it's true. Student athlete at Furman, the student truly does come first. And I was talking to Clay Hendricks about it today. He said, we have to start with the transcripts. That's where they start. So that significantly reduces the pool that they can draw from. Having said that, they do have to do what they can to keep up with the times. And I know they are working on generating some NIL money with doing some fundraising to try and be able to compete in that a little bit. They added a grad program about 4 years ago that's allowed them to keep some of their own players who graduated and had to go somewhere because there was no grad program for them, and B, bring in the occasional grad transfer that can fit, like Talon Blaylock, for instance, has done this year, who's played so well at safety in his only year. But Furman is going to be Furman. It's going to be a developmental program first. It has to be, and then it will add pieces here and there of what it can do, but it's never ever going to live in the transfer portal. It's just not the school's model, and it's not the program's model.
Dan, it's obviously been kind of an up and down season for this team, but some runs there. The Campbell, Samford, East Tennessee State run 3 in a row, and then the Western Wofford 2 in a row losses, two in a row losses to Mercer and Chattanooga. So just kind of up and down. For those of us who are not focused eyeballs on this team as often as you are, how would you, in what areas would you really look at and say there's been definite improvement in quarterback play, in running back play? Where would you say have been the biggest improvements this season?
I think you could look at the offense across the board and just compare basically almost the same group and the game against VMI from last year compared to this year, and how we struggled and lost at VMI, which Furman never does, up there 21-17 a year ago, and beat them 32-14 this past Saturday and should have scored 45 points. The offensive improvement has been
has been significant. And spots on the defensive side, talking about Joshua Stone King emerging, that has been significant. The team is better, but what they have found out, like every college football team does, is you can't turn the ball over and win. They've turned the ball over, I think, 18 times this season. 14 of those have come in 4 losses. And if you don't take care of the football, then you're not going to win very many football games. And you can go back to the Wofford game. You can go back to the PC game. If Furman takes care of the ball, they win both of those games. And now you're looking at an 8-win season instead of a 6-win season.
No, it's interesting.
You turn it over 5 times at Western Carolina, and 2 of those turnovers were throws into the end zones for touchdowns. Another was a fumble in the red zone. I mean, so the scores are what they are, the results are what they are, but as Tommy Bowden used to say, and people got tired of hearing it at Clemson, but a play here and a play there, and it's a different season. Well, in essence, that's true, but it didn't happen. And so you're living with a 6-5 record going into Clemson right now.
Dan, before we let you run, you and I were talking off air about this last night. Furman basketball, trying to still find their identity with some new pieces on this team. Is that where they are in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a talented basketball team. The issue is you're putting an incredible weight of pressure on a true freshman point guard. You are playing with only Cooper Bowser and Ben Vanderwall of the returning players in the same role that they had last year. And you're trying to fit all these pieces together. And on top of that, they've not been able to throw the ball in Lake Hartwell from the bridge from 3 until last night in the second half. They hit 7 out of 15. The other thing about it is, although it doesn't really look sexy, if you look at the schedule, and they lost to a High Point team that's got a multi-million-dollar roster put together. They lost to Troy, which won the Sun Belt Conference last year, and Troy just went out and should have beaten Troy at home, had a chance. And Troy just went out 2 nights ago and beat San Diego State in San Diego and dropped 108 on them in double overtime. So, as Bob told me, he said, if we get that Troy game, we're feeling a lot better about ourselves right now. Dan, this is going to be a good basketball team before the year's done. They're just working some kinks out right now.
Dan, just how nice is that newly remodeled Timmons Arena? The photos you were posting last night, man, it's incredible. I have to get out there.
It's obviously not the same place. The name is the same. The outer shell in some places is the same, but it's as good as any mid-major arena you're going to see. And quite honestly, it's better than some big school arenas I've been in.
Dan, you're the best, man.
They really got their $40 million worth.
Yeah, sounds like it. Dan Scott, the play-by-play voice of the Furman Paladins. Dan, always appreciate you, man.
All right, thank you, man.
You'll hear him very soon again on these airwaves. And I'll tell you what, maybe, just maybe, to his point, Furman can go up there and play their best game. And like you said, Diesel, give the Paladins, give Clay Hendricks a little bit of momentum heading into next year.
Cole, the rumors abound. And as I was trying to run down a rumor that a listener just texted in, I landed on another crazy rumor when it comes to Dabo Swinney and the Clemson football program. We'll get into that and some other things next.
Upstate.
Cole, it's that time of year when rumors abound, most of them around head coaching swaps. Who's going here? Who's going there? Trey from Kentucky texts into the show at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. And I think this is a lesson in caution when it comes to believing what you read on the internet. I'm not saying, Trey, that you believed this, but he sent us a message about 15 minutes ago and says, I received a post on Facebook stating that Dabo had suspended or released players for disrespect to veterans after the Louisville game. Any truth to this? So I tried to do some digging, and I get it. Like, you pass something along, see what sticks, and see if we've heard anything about it. I've done digging. I haven't found a single thing about this.
Yeah.
I have not heard a single thing about this. I haven't read it. I'm looking on Twitter, which is just a cesspool of misinformation. I'm looking on Facebook, can't find it. I'm looking on, ESPN and Yahoo and all the big accounts. It's not out there. It's not. So I don't know, Trey, where you might have seen this. And I would love for you to send it to us so we can put eyeballs on the exact same post or article that you saw. But, critical reading at this time of year is paramount importance.
Well, nowadays, so many different accounts can, make posts on Facebook, and there are so many people that are gullible enough to believe anything. And I mean anything.
Well,
so,
there's another rumor rolling around, Cole, that Dabo Swinney is interviewed for the Arkansas job.
Wow.
That rumor is out there as well, which you and I both know is not true. It's unfounded. So,
that's about as bad as somebody saying 54 states, apparently. Apparently, I said Prize Picks was available in 54 states. Texter, did I really say that? Maybe I did. On my endorsement copy, it says 45 states. Maybe I put the 4 and the 5 in the wrong spot. If I did, to clarify, no. Prize Picks is not available in 54 states, Texter.
Well, I thought maybe you meant 50 states plus a couple of territories.
No, not to my knowledge. 45 states. So thank you, Texter. I will make sure I correct that going for 45, not 54.
See, I'm looking at this Dabo Swinney, Arkansas. It's what I searched for on Twitter. One account that's tweeting this has 86 followers. Do you think an account with 86 followers is in the know? No. Another one said with 1,300 followers say Dabo Swinney's running away from James Franklin, interviewing for the Arkansas job. Consider the source.
Yeah.
Consider the source before, like, you read it, the words go from your eyeballs into your brain. It interprets what's going on up there in that gray matter. Then mouse over the account name. Just make sure there's not any misspellings. Make sure it's not some account that just started 2 weeks ago. Critical reading is important right now.
Tolo's a big hour 4 coming your way, including Clay Hendricks. But next, we've got to get to some audio blitz next.
Upstate.
Listen up. Hey, before we do all the celebration stuff, so proud of you guys, man. Amen. Tough couple weeks. We made them proud. You guys made them proud, man. Unbelievable.
Brian Schottenheimer after Sunday's win, obviously emotional, and what happened with Marshawn Kneeland and one of the former Dallas Cowboy football players just a couple of weeks ago. A horrible event to have to go through as a player and a coach. I don't know how you somehow recover and go back to football after that, Diesel, but that's what they're tasked to do. It is an audio blitz. We've got some audio to throw at you, but we have a request. Have you seen Dewey's request?
Oh God, this could be anything.
Yep, it could be.
He's requesting the tastiest crayons he can eat for dinner tonight.
Nope.
I don't know what he's requesting.
Dewey on the YouTube stream says, today is Dabo's birthday. Y'all should play him my birthday song. And Dewey, just for you, it is Dabo Sweeney's birthday today. If he's listening, here is Dewey's birthday song.
Oh, happy birthday to you. Oh, happy birthday to you. Oh, happy birthday. Your underwear smells. Happy birthday to you. Oh.
Wow. What a way to start the audio blitz, Diesel. What a way.
Wow.
What a way. I hope your night's made after that. Thanks, Dewey.
I'm going to be singing that song in my head all night.
Yep. You should set it as your ringtone. You should have Dewey as your ringtone. That's what you should do.
I put my phone on vibrate for that reason.
That's what you should do. I like the way that a team responds after a tragic incident like what happened with Marshawn Kneeland. Dak Prescott with some really cool audio. We hadn't had a chance to play this yet on the show, but just about life being more than a game, and we all love a game in football, but there being more to life.
It's one of these moments you realize that this is just a game, and life is what's important, and our connections, our relationships, what we say to each other, how we can lift each other up, how we can be a helping hand, how we can be a true neighbor, a true brother, a true sister, and love one another. One love, like Marshawn, lived by. That's what makes life beautiful. And hopefully we can all continue to look at our neighbors, look at ourselves, and ask, how can we be better? How can we help better them? And just a moment, like I said, to understand that it's much bigger than this game, and it's about life.
Much bigger than the game, about life. A good reminder, unfortunately, after a horrible tragedy, Diesel, but a good reminder that, we talk sports for a living, and boy, do we get immersed in the sports world, but something that I think would be a good daily reminder for not just us, for everybody.
Yeah. Has there been any more development that you've seen? Because I haven't seen it was it the brother or brother-in-law who thought that maybe there was some police foul play involved?
I have not. No, sure have not. More on, let's see. Let me make sure say this right. This was Dak after the game on Monday Night Football.
About being vulnerable. It's not necessarily about, I'm weak, but it's about being vulnerable. And to show courage, you have to show some kind of weakness, right? Or something that you need to overcome. And it was just a time for us to gather together, right? Understand that this game, it's bigger, right? It's about life and these connections that we're making, the brotherhoods, the friendships. We've got to be there for each other, regardless, on the field, off the field. And Marshawn was such a kind, loving, sweet soul that it hurt. It hurt everybody. But we're able to, as you said, face that grief and use that as a strength for us to move forward.
More from Dak Prescott. Let's get to a little bit something more on the light side when it comes to the NFL, but more on the humor side of things, Diesel, in this audio blitz. Have you heard the Cam Scataboo, I believe, who asked the question about how to properly eat a taco? Have you heard this big dilemma?
No, I haven't. I did see that he was on some fake wrestling match thing, though.
So he was on, I think it was a podcast or something, or he was on a stream, one of his live streams, right? And he went into this whole conversation about how to properly eat a taco. Well, then Monday night on the Manning cast for Monday Night Football, guess what? They had Guy Fieri on.
Oh, okay.
Food Network.
Yeah. I've heard of him.
The best hair on TV. Is that right?
Spiked hair, always has flames on his shirt.
And they asked Guy about Cam's comments on how to properly eat a taco. This was pretty good stuff here. If you haven't heard it from Monday Night Football.
All right, Guy, my Giants have a great rookie in Cam Scatterboo, and he was live streaming last week and posed an important question. I think it's a question that really only you can answer. So we'll show the video right here.
Do you turn your head to eat a taco, or do you turn the taco for you? Are you dominant to the taco, or does the taco do you turn your head for the taco? It's about the dominance of the taco though. If you're turning the taco, you're dominating the taco.
All right, guys. So we sent you some tacos for this very moment. Can you please demonstrate the
spoken like a guy with CTE
to eat a taco?
Your Honor. All right. So my son Hunter Piety actually put these all together for me. And when you're going to have tacos, you have to have the right stuff. You got to have the right sauces. You got to have tequila on the side. So I always recommend starting things off with just a little to cleanse the palate, dominating the taco.
Guys taking shots, by the way, live on Monday Night Football.
Love it. I'm a hot sauce guy. So a little hot sauce on the taco. And this is how you get after the taco. So I think it's a 50-50. I don't think you're submitting to the taco. And I don't think you're dominating it, but you definitely don't want it spilling out.
So Guy turned the taco and his head.
Right, so I got my taco here.
That's the right way to do it.
You think so?
Yeah. You can't turn a taco. A taco shaped like this.
Everything will fall out.
You turn it sideways, stuff's gonna fall out. So you can't turn it all the way. So you have to do a little bit of both. Now, were they eating hard shell or soft shell tacos?
Hard shell.
Okay.
Hard shell.
I prefer hard shell tacos. I don't know about you.
I've never met one I didn't like. Hard shell,
True.
soft shell. I'll take either one,
the
right?
best is when you wrap a hard shell taco in a soft shell taco.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
What's your name?
You got to add a little cheese to it. You got to melt it around. Oh, it's so good.
But it was funny. I don't know why nobody that had ever brought that up.
I'm going to let you in on my taco secret. Cole.
Okay.
You have to put cheese in the bottom of the taco shell first before you start putting toppings in on it. Because think about it this way. Cheese, most of us are using shredded Mexican cheese out of the fridge, right? Yeah. It's cold. It doesn't stick to anything and it just falls out. But if you put the cheese in the bottom and then you put the hot ground beef or hot chicken or whatever it is you're putting in there, it melts the cheese. It also holds the hard shell taco together so that it doesn't break and crumble all over your plate.
I like that. That's the smartest thing I've heard all day.
Thank you.
I like that a lot.
Thank you.
I'm going to now I want tacos.
I'm going to tell Dan Scott you said that.
Now I want tacos. So Cam, for whatever reason, Cam Scatterboo, the way he worded it just sounded weird, right? You mentioned the CTE with the dominance of the taco. I had never eaten a taco and thought of it that way, Diesel.
Could you imagine the less than 3 syllable words in a conversation between Cam and Gronk?
Be bad.
Dear God.
Be really bad.
Those two need to do a podcast together. It would just be grunts and bros.
Bro. More audio first. Let's go to the phone lines. Trey wants to weigh in. What's up, Trey?
Hey, guys. Diesel, I've been texting with you on this Dabo situation.
Yeah.
Okay, I went to the AI. It's reporting it as originally reported on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled that up. There is a HTTPS address that's a mile long. But again, I can't confirm anything, but how does this get generated just like that poof? Here we
AI.
are.
Yeah, anybody can create a Facebook post and then AI searches for it and finds it. It's like an echo chamber. Trey, do you know what an echo chamber is?
I do.
So one person says something and then somebody else echoes it and then somebody else echoes it. And all of a sudden, hundreds of accounts have this and it's completely bogus. There was never any truth to it to begin with.
Wow.
Yeah.
just boggles. Well, it's kind of like Randy Travis's song. There we go.
Thanks, Trey. That's good stuff. All
I
right.
think we'd have a Randy Travis quote on the show today.
Did you hear Geno Smith? I love Randy Travis, by the way. If your car breaks down, Geno Smith gets a lot of flack, but he says, look, whatever happens, it's his fault. He doesn't mind the blame.
I keep saying this, man. If something don't look right out there, blame it on me, right? If it don't look right, blame it on me. That's all you can do. Blame it on me. If your kids mess up at school, blame it on me. Car break down going to work, blame it on me.
Blame it on him. Blame it on Geno Smith.
Hey, I like anybody that's willing to take accountability. Obviously, he's joking, but he's saying, hey, if anything is going wrong with the offense on the field, it's my fault. And the buck stops with the quarterback. The buck stops with the head coach.
Diesel, one of my favorite podcasts, I've had this audio on the show before. We play snippets of it every now and then. McCready and Siskey podcast. They were talking about last night, a 10-3 Alabama, if they were to make the college football playoff. I want to hear your thoughts on this as well as the Tolos. But first, here's the audio.
Opinion, you don't know the answer because we don't have a reference point to go to it. A&M and Alabama play each other in Atlanta for the SEC title. Bama loses. What happens?
You talking about like do they?
That's what I was thinking about. I think they're still in.
I think
they do. They're still in.
In my opinion, there's no way that they're going to punish or kick Alabama out. Now you've been on the road and all that stuff.
Yeah.
For that scenario, I think it would be that would cause so much ripple effect of like now. I mean, obviously, right? But can you imagine? Because what's the first thing that the SEC coaches and Sankey's going to say is like,
Sankey, the first thing he'll do is sell his house,
right? But the fact that you're already doing this 9-game thing that the coaches don't like.
So they bring up an interesting question, and we kind of touched on this yesterday. We didn't take a deep dive into it yesterday, Diesel, on the show. But what if Alabama lost to A&M in Atlanta, a 3-loss Alabama team that played in the conference championship? Do you have any concern in your mind that the committee would leave Bama out if they had just lost in the SEC championship and had 3 losses?
I don't think you can make that determination just off of the scenario that Bama loses in the SEC title game. How they lose matters. Was it a close game? Did they get blown out? Was it a 2-score game? Also, what happens around them in the other conference championship games? Would you put in, for example, an Ole Miss that doesn't even make the SEC conference championship game? I mean, I don't necessarily love the idea, and I'm torn on this. I don't love the idea that just because you made the conference championship game, you're automatically in the playoff. I don't think there should be any guarantees of anything for any conference, right? But also, I don't like the idea of a team that didn't even get there jumping a team that did because they had to, play an extra tough opponent. So it's a hard question to answer, and there would have to be a lot of other factors around it. But I do love the thought of Bama fans being like, there's just no way. Not again. Couldn't happen to us again. We're Ala-frickin-Bama.
Yeah. I don't think they would get left out. I think if that situation were to come to fruition, I believe Bama would still get in. I really do. And again, to your point, how they play in the conference championship game, what the score is, it being close or not close, that would matter too.
I'd imagine it'd be a close game.
You would imagine.
In theory, that's going to be a good football game.
You would imagine. Dabo Swinney was asked and did not have much to say at all. Didn't seem really pleased or indifferent.
Are you taking the Arkansas job?
No, he was asked about James Franklin being hired. Here's what Dabo said.
Virginia Tech hired James Franklin. Just your thoughts on what he will bring to Virginia Tech and the ACC as a whole.
He's a winner. He's a winner. He's won everywhere he's been. He's a good football coach. He hadn't won the championship. He was a play away last year from being in the national championship, but he's a proven football coach.
That's it. That's all he said. Pretty quick, pretty to the point.
Yeah.
He's a winner. Maybe Dabo, is like, now I'm going to have to have another elite coach in the conference. It's not just old Bill Belichick and his young girlfriend that's a laughingstock. I don't know, but Dabo wasn't really too outspoken about it.
Well, and it matters if you see somebody in your conference effectively using the portal. I mean, I know Florida State uses it like crazy, but Florida State hasn't been winning with the portal, but what if James Franklin goes to Virginia Tech, wins games with a bunch of portal players, and it's happening in your own conference and somebody's showing you up against your own method?
It could be a situation where that happens. Could be. One more clip from Dabo. The Tigers aren't cutting anyone who does the right thing, says Sweeney.
As long as he goes to class, he's a great effort guy. He's a good citizen. It's till graduation do we part. Most of the kids that leave here are graduates, the great majority of them. They want to get their degree here, and then they might move on at some time or another. But, we got to just see how it all shakes out. There's no number. We know right now, like, if everything stayed the same, hey, we know we need a couple of spots, but we'll see how it all plays out.
I saw on one of the preview shows a couple of weeks ago, a coach saying, well, in this day and age, I have to cut kids. Kids in a high school class, and if they don't work out, and we'll tell them I got to go. Would you ever do that?
No, man. As long as a kid does what he's supposed to do here, he's going to have an opportunity to graduate from Clemson. That's just the way it is. It's going to always be that way as long as I'm going to be the head coach. Kid comes to Clemson, he's a good kid. If he's not a good enough player, that's on us. That's just the way it is. And again, we've led the nation in graduation too the last 3 years. So, and for a long time, we've been top 10 academically around here for 14 years. We've always, that's the number one thing in this program is graduation.
Number one thing, graduation. No surprise there from Dabo, right?
Winning is the number one thing. Graduation's the number one.
Number one. Always has been, always will be.
He did say if they come here and do the right things, they'll get their degree from Clemson. He didn't necessarily say they'll be on my football team anymore, though.
It's true. One last clip. I love Kim Mulkey. Who doesn't love Kim Mulkey? This was
love this lady.
Kim Mulkey talking about Lane Kiffin. Very opinionated Kim Mulkey and brutally honest, I guess.
Let's see who's here from Baton Rouge. 3, y'all will always have my love, and I will give you first interviews. 4 of you. I see who's here. I know y'all back home trying to figure out if we're going to hire Lane Kiffin. Well, got to get the first news. Hate to tell you, Lane was at Gainesville yesterday.
You just can't make this up. This is the most LSU thing ever. The head basketball coach, the head women's basketball coach, taking roll call of who's in the media availability, right? And then breaking this down one more time.
Let's see who's here from Baton Rouge. 3, y'all will always have my love, and I will give you first interviews. 4 of you. I see who's here. I know y'all back home trying to figure out if we're going to hire Lane Kiffin. Well, got to get the first news. Hate to tell you, Lane was at Gainesville yesterday.
Hate to tell you, Lane was at Gainesville yesterday.
Do you think these reporters do they think that Kim Mulkey's going to break the news that Lane Kiffin is coming to?
What if she did, though?
LSU?
Would that not be the most LSU thing ever?
Picturing Lane Kiffin in a matching sequined purple jacket to go along with Kim Mulkey's purple sequin jacket.
Great, man. I'm telling you, it'd be great. It'd be great. Gotta love Kim Mulkey.
When we come back, man, this is unprecedented. 2 Furman football segments on the same show. We'll be talking to Clay Hendricks, the head football coach of the Furman Paladins, ahead of their matchup against Clemson on Saturday. Next.
This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Well, on Saturday, the Furman Paladins look to slay a giant, and to talk about it, as we have him on this time every single Thursday, head football coach of the Furman Paladins, Kaye Hendricks, joins us on the show. Coach, I remember watching a documentary once about a certain upset in college football, and in pregame warmups, the head coach tells his team, look up at the 100,000 seats. Take that in. And then he tells them, look down and don't look back up again until the game was over. What do you like to say to your players ahead of big-time matchups against power opponents to keep their heads locked in to the game in hand in front of them?
You know, I don't think I was telling anything in particular. I mean, we just try to stay focused on the things we have to do every week. You know, I think this week probably just the talk has been, you know, focus on the things that takes no ability. You know, your effort, your toughness, you know, your execution. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. Those are things, you know, in our sport, you have to do well every week. You know, certainly you got to, you know, what changes is the bodies are different. You know, speed is different. Certainly you're in front of a whole lot more people with a few more distractions. But I think as much as you could probably not talk about it, just focus on the things that you can control. There are a few little things you have to do different. I mean, we don't have to do a lot of crowd noise work, you know, within our conference. So there's usually one game a year. Most years where we have to deal with that a little bit, and it's something we've managed pretty good. So other than that, I don't think it's a whole lot different.
Coach, talk about the 32-14 win over the Keydets last Saturday in front of your home crowd. I know you told us last year after a little bit of a disappointing outing against that same team, I'm sure this one had to feel good for you.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I think anytime winning's winning, you know, and we celebrate wins. And, you know, it was a good, solid win for us. We played we played pretty solid. We wasted a bunch of opportunities in the first half to get a lot more points. I thought we had a chance to kind of have it firmly under control in the first half, and we didn't. And I thought defensively, other than probably one drive, we played pretty solid all day, and you know, played probably as many people. Probably got as many kids into a game as we've been able to get in a game in a while, which is always good. It was senior day, last home game, and you know, and want to send the seniors out right, yet, you know, start building for 26 and trying to do things we need to do, try to win a championship. And, you know, hopefully we can take something, you know, from last week and then, you know, hopefully carry that over this week and like to take some good things out of, you know, this game Saturday that will help us, you know, going forward.
Coach, how do you anticipate or how would you try to simulate some of the speed that your guys are going to have to face on Saturday?
Well, that'd be good. I don't know. If you figure that one out, let me know. I guess we could park a bunch of vehicles out there on the field and go against them. But, you know, it's hard to do. You know, as I told our team, you know, the one great thing about it all is they can only put 11 of them out there at a time, you know, and so I don't know. You know, I think the biggest thing, you just have to be really careful what you ask your guys to do. I think the thing that's so different in these games against the very best teams, and Clemson's one of those, is just how quickly their ability is to recover. Yeah. So even, you know, if you're on offense and all of a sudden you got a hole, you know, that same hole last week probably would have stayed open a little longer. This one just closes so much faster because of the size and the length and even the speed of guys. But no, that's a challenge in itself, and there's just no way to kind of really prepare for that.
Talking to Kaye Hendricks, he's the head football coach of the Furman Paladins, won last time this season on the Fan Upstate. Coach, you've had Clemson on the schedule now for a while. What's been your reaction to see what they've done or what they haven't done this season compared to their preseason expectations?
Well, I don't put a whole lot into preseason expectations, you know, because again, people are basing stuff on what a team did a year ago. And a lot of times, those teams are vastly different. It's a really odd time in college football. So I don't know. I just know I cut on the tape. They got really good players. They're talented. And you know what? They're probably a couple of plays in a bunch of games from being, you know, having their record like they want it. and so I mean they've been so good for so long. So I don't put a whole lot into that. I know we went and played that Ole Miss team a year ago. We opened with them. What's a little different is playing this at the end of the year. I've never played one of these games at the end of the year where, they have you'd have to ask them, but arguably their most important game next week.
Yeah.
I'm sure their conference games are really important to them too. But, you probably, I know they lost a couple of guys last week. I think everybody's a little beat up late in the year. Usually when you play in the first, second game, everybody's healthy. Everybody's excited. Guys are eager to get stats and those kinds of things. So I don't know. Somebody asked me if I thought that would help me. I said, well, ask me about 7:30, 8 o'clock Saturday night. And I'd probably see if it helped us or not. But I don't know. In our situation, you're looking for every kind of advantage you could find. Just got to be conscious of what we ask for our guys to do. And I know in 22, we maybe played as well as we've ever played against a Clemson team. And I think I played them, 6, 7, 8 times in my career. First 4 years of my coaching career, we played them twice when I was a GA at NC State. Actually won both those games. And then 88 and 89, we played them back-to-back years. And then it's kind of been, every 4 or 5 years throughout there. But I know we played them in 22 and, outgained them. I think we were 10-18 on third down. I actually think we maybe outscored them in the second half. And I know that it was week 2, and that gave our bunch a lot of confidence, as we headed into our conference season. Now this is going to be our last game. But again, they're different. We're different. So we just got to go out there and try to play at the highest level we play.
Coach, can you describe your relationship with Dabo Swinney? He spoke, obviously complimentary of you earlier this week, and being just up the road, 40 miles separate the two schools. What's the friendship like between you two?
Well, I'm kind of that guy when people ask me about people. I kind of base my view on how people treat me or how they are around me, and Dabo is who Dabo is, and nobody can ever say he's anything other than what you see and portrayed and how he is. And he's always been incredibly gracious with me. Whether we've played, I guess I've played him twice since I've been the head coach. I'm always involved in the Fisher-Berry Foundation deal that you do every year. So I see him there. And, but again, he's just always, just like you'd think, he's friendly and have a great deal of respect for him and, incredible respect for what he's done with that program. And I have a huge respect for who he is as a man, which is, I think, more important. So I just think he's top notch in every way.
Coach, when you look at the game within the game, the matchups within the matchup, if you will, you mentioned going up there a couple of years ago and outgaining Clemson. What are some of those games within the game that you've challenged your guys on Saturday? Hey, you're probably going to be outmanned in a lot of these situations, but areas and games that you can try to win and give your guys some confidence in before the season concludes.
Well, it's funny. In 22, we had a guy named Tyler Huff. He had an unbelievable career for us. Tyler's second game with us. Tyler was a true dual threat guy. I think that I actually looked at it this week. I think he went 31-39 passing, and he made a lot of third down conversions with his feet. We hit him with a couple of screens, and we had, I do remember this. They had played on Monday night, Labor Day. I think they played Georgia Tech in Atlanta, and then got us on Saturday. So again, short week, which I don't know, maybe it caused them to be a little simpler, that week. But, we executed pretty well, and we had Ryan Miller, still plays with the Bucks. And I think Ryan had 13 catches. And Ryan was probably maybe the one guy on the field that we had who probably would have fit with anything they had. I mean, he was just that talented of a guy. And so I don't know. Our coaches did a great job giving our guys a plan, and obviously you can't turn it into a black and blue game, or you're going to be the black and blue group. If you do that, and you got to find a way to spread them out. You try to get them maybe just a little bit unsure. Whatever you can do to maybe slow them down a little bit. And just maybe so they can't play. They're already fast, so they don't play as fast. And then, defensively, we just can't, we get a chance to get stops. We got to get off the field, and trying to eliminate explosives, which is something we struggled with a little bit this year, and so I don't know. At the end of the day, there's kind of no way to hide it. You got to be able to block and tackle, get off blocks, but when you get a chance to, when we get a chance to make a play this week, we have to make a play. If we somehow get our hands on one of their balls, a ball that's been thrown, we got to win the turnover margin. I think to have any kind of a chance. So, and then be really good in special teams, which I think we've been solid at. They're really solid there too. So I think, I actually think in 22, they fumbled a punt, in the second half there. And so, you just got to be opportunistic.
Coach, something that, a lot of people might not know about your team, and especially about your quarterback, Trey Hedden, a top 10 quarterback when it comes to total passing yards on the season. He's put up some numbers this year, and that's certainly an impressive thing. And obviously, I don't have to tell you his interception numbers are a little higher than you probably want them to be. What is his off-season training regimen going to look like? What are you going to be asking him to do to maybe improve the decision-making, improve the vision, whatever it may be, to help bring those numbers down? Because it feels like he is poised going into next year to maybe have a breakout season.
Well, Trey has a lot, Trey's a talented guy. He is a kind of a true pocket passer. He's a big guy. He's got a big arm, he can make every throw. I tell you what about Trey, one of the things I respect most about how hard he works at the game off the field. Studying tape. He's over there. Coach Roper, quarterback coach's office, is right there next to mine. So I don't know. I may see him in there as much as anybody on the team. But he works really hard at it. He has a really good understanding of what's being asked of him. I think it's just kind of the natural progression. He had to play last year as a true freshman. Probably wasn't ready for that. But again, he's done some really good things. If we can eliminate, a lot of, like you said, the turnovers has been the big thing. And I think continuing to work his ability to keep plays alive, in the pocket. He's not a guy that you design a bunch of runs for. And that's okay. But what he does well. And certainly he's had a really productive year. He's completed a high percentage of his passes. And again, he thrown for a bunch of yards. We got to eliminate, the turnovers. But I think he's just that guy that's going to work, and he'll just naturally kind of, I think with just the maturation part of it, will get better.
Well, Coach, with us, with this being our last visit with you this season, what do you think is going to be that one thing that you remember most about this year's group?
This group's been, I don't know, when you look back on it, you always, this group has been a really enjoyable group to be around. They would laugh to hear me say, I'm kind of a low maintenance kind of guy. I like low maintenance guys. And this group, they've just come and they worked. And you know what? I think we've had our share of adversity, this year. And, adversity is good for you. Yeah. Adversity is going to serve these guys well. We actually just we do this little thing at the end of our last practice, which was tonight. And, we have them all kind of stand up and the seniors at least, and if they want to, and give everybody an idea of what they're planning on doing next year. And I don't know, you get a bunch of Furman kids together. It's pretty cool to listen to what those guys. And I think there were 3 med school guys and a lawyer and a law school guy, and we got lots of guys doing great things, and so I think they'll serve them well. And it's a pleasure or an honor just to be able to coach these guys and be around them every day. And this group's been a pretty special group, as I've been fortunate. Most of those groups at Furman that I've had have been that way.
Well, Coach, hopefully we can maybe squeeze one more of these in after you have a monster performance against Clemson and shock the world this weekend. Yeah?
Yeah, well, if we can get that done, we will certainly get that done. We'll do it either way. But our guys are excited to go play, and it's an unbelievable opportunity, but it's an unbelievable challenge. So that's what life's about. Getting opportunities, and we need to go make the most of the opportunity we have. Right. And if we're going to play like we're capable of playing, and do those things that we can control, then the scoreboard kind of takes care of itself, and we can live with that part of it. But I'm excited for this group to go play together one more time, and it'll be a beautiful day over there. It's always an unbelievable place to go play, and so we're actually taking our entire team. I won't dress them all, but we're going to take every single guy we've got.
That's cool.
I think that'd be pretty cool for them to be able to experience that.
No doubt. Well, Coach, best of luck to you. Have a lot of fun on Saturday, and so much appreciate you taking time to join us each and every week this season.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Y'all been awful gracious with me, and we'll look forward to talking again.
Absolutely. Yes, Clay Hendricks doesn't get much better than that. You heard him right here on the Fan Upstate, and man, that'd be something. It really would be. Diesel, I threw a wild Alabama-related statistic for you. Not a statistic. Let me back up. I threw a wild Alabama situation at you earlier in the show, right? With them being a 3-loss team. I've got another one for you. Another wild what if to end the show.
Okay.
This one's really wild. I want to hear what you and the Tolos have to say college football related next.
game.
So a wild one. I told you, Diesel, that this would be a little bit out there, a little bit far-fetched, but I'm going to ask anyways. You ready?
Okay.
I asked you earlier in the show what would happen if Alabama were a 3-loss team that lost in the conference championship, if they would still make the CFP. We talked about that. Similar situation. What if it was decision time for Lane Kiffin? And Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss, the coach that took them to these heights, and it just so happened to be right before the final college football playoff selection show. What if, and this is wild, Diesel, but what if the committee said, Lane Kiffin just left. He brought Ole Miss to that success. This team doesn't have their head coach. Should they get in without their head coach that took them to that point of success?
Ooh.
A little wild one for you. I know it seems out there. I know it seems far-fetched. But Jordan Travis, I don't know if you remember or not, got hurt. We all remember, right, with what happened with Florida State, Diesel, and we never thought that would happen. We never thought Florida State would get left out with their quarterback being injured. What if it were a head coach that wasn't on the team?
Well, Lane Kiffin calls plays for Ole Miss. He doesn't call every single play, right? He is not the offensive coordinator, but he does call plays. So he is heavily involved with that decision-making. The question becomes, when the architect of your offense is no longer there, and you have a new OC, you have a different set of eyeballs, you have a different set of different philosophy, even though it would be a guy that was already on staff, still calling those plays.
Still.
What
Can
if
I
they
get you there?
What if they advance the OC to interim head coach? Now he's got a whole new set of decisions to make on game day that he otherwise wouldn't have to make during a game day. Oh, man, that's brutal. I don't know that they would want to set that precedent, though I would think that the team would be less than without Lane Kiffin.
College football would revolt. Diesel, they would revolt if Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss right about the same time as the final college football selection show, and they got left out. I'm telling you, you thought people were living when Florida State got left out. This
that is a fun scenario.
Oh my gosh! But to be fair, don't you feel like that is a disgrace, a slap in the face to the players that got you there?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I look. Here's the thing. I know. LSU and Florida are both massive jobs.
Yeah.
But guess what? More massive jobs are going to come up in the future. So unless Lane has just circled these two programs specifically for a long time, Texas might come open in the future. Alabama might come open in the future, The natives are restless down there.
Alabama football?
Yeah.
Whoa.
What if Kalen DeBoer got fired? I mean, come on.
Just saying, you never know.
Think you can hang with Diesel and Cole Bryson? Turn it on, leave it on.